this season. The final match for premiership points on a Saturday at the MCG. Richmond and the Gold Coast, one last time. Here's Lauren Borden.
Sun shining on the centre circles as the umpire tosses the ball up. Taranto goes in after it. He can juggle its way to Graham. Hand pass to Nankervis, who hand passes it to Daniel Rioli. Running right through half forward for Richmond. He puts it inside 50. And it's chopped off easily by Ballard.
Did the Richmond faithful just give Rioli a clap, like a thank you type of clap when he got that ball and sort of ran down the field? It was almost like, yeah, thanks, we know that you're going, so we're going to give you a clap every time you get the footy.
Well, they'll put him, I guess, as one of the retirees or those moving on. We'll wait to see what Daniel Rioli decides to do as the kick comes out from Ballard. It's floating around on the AFL logo, broadcast side of the ground. Boston has a go. In the end, it's Flanders, who picks it up for Gold Coast, puts it inside 50. Ben King standing all alone, 30 metres out from goal, easily takes the mark.
Macca, can you at half assume what Bolter was thinking when he was sort of 40 metres ahead of his opponent, who was standing 15 metres out for goal?
Reading the contest, and at one stage they looked like they might get their hands on it, but they're developing a nice little method of shape through the corridor of the Gold Coast, which will help here today.
So Ben King eases the ball towards goals, and he's got the first one this afternoon. Barely a minute played, and the Gold Coast have the opener via Ben King. It's one straight six, playing Richmond, yet to score after 90 seconds in this first quarter at the MCG. It's Saturday Arvo footy on ABC Sport.
His read and react was awkward though, at best. And if you're a Richmond supporter, you're probably looking at him like you looked at him and going, well, what is he doing? But it did bounce around a little bit, and then that last hit on body and ball spilled. But part of Damien's methodology is always to have corridor cover, and it does pay really well at the MCG. You can stop the opposition going back through there at the same time, and it enables you to shape to goal.
If you're Ben King, though, you think, yeah, big first game at the MCG, want to get off to a good start? Okay, leave me alone 15 metres out from goal, dead in front. And can he win the Coleman? He probably needs about a dozen, I think.
Booted 5 goals, Ben King, when these two sides faced off in opening round. He's fourth in the race for the Coleman medal. Toot Miller gets the clearance of the Suns. Hand pass to Long, kicks inside 50, leading out Bolter this time in front. The Tigers defender marks in front of Ben King and looks for the avenue out of defence. Works it towards Nankervis. He marks it left half back. The Gold Coast Suns by a goal. As Nank careful with his delivery, slares it out wide, and Jack Graham takes the mark. So maybe you're onto something here with the Richmond faithful. Just giving a little round of applause for Graham as well. Out to Rioli. Hand pass away to Prestia. Back to Dan Rioli. 1-2 is short. They're still on the wing on the Shane Warne stand side. Turns and comes inboard, and Nankervis takes the mark.
So the captain holding it can hand pass it across to Taranto. He'll switch it across to the broadcast side of the ground where Vlosting can mark. So right in front of the officials' bench, he'll kick it to right half forward for the Tigers. There'll be a mark taken there by Baker, who just dubs it inside 50, and Graham will mark. So slow and steady by the Tigers. They've finally got it inside 50, and Graham able to mark about 46 metres out.
Yeah, the Suns are they just camp back and park behind the ball, and Richmond found a way through it. It's not how you want to start a game. You want to get up and put pressure on the opposition a lot earlier than that.
I saw a game last week, there was just circle work training. No one touched each other. This one might be similar.
So Jack Graham launches it towards goals from 46 metres out, and he's put it through. It's Richmond with their first goal of the afternoon to come back against the Suns, who have already got one, and it's via Jack Graham, one of those players we don't know if we'll see him in Tigers colours next year. But it's all squared up, scores level at 1 goal apiece after 4 minutes now in the opening term.
Yeah, Damien would have come here today thinking, let's keep building how we play and apply it to this arena, because that's where you need to be able to do it. And I think he'll coach pretty hard. He'd be disappointed with that because, as I said, when I say they parked, they just dropped back behind the ball, folded back, and Richmond went across and around and through. And it's not how you want to play. You want to get up in their grill and take the ball off them in the middle of the ground and sling it the other way.
A goal apiece. It's 18 disposals to 8 the way of the Tigers early here. As Whitson Nankervis, the bounce flares out to the right and will be recalled. Sun beating down on the MCG. The floodlights are on, but a perfect Saturday afternoon on the eve of September. Nankervis was looking to move before the umpire had thrown it up. It just caught the corner of his eye. As the 666 is just checked and thrown in the air. Witts and Nankervis. Witts wins down the tap looking for Miller. Taranto's onto it, trying to break the tackle. Kicks end over end up towards half forward. Campbell, clean pickup. Hand pass to Graham, inside 50, down low for Kaczynski. And Collins works his way to the front. The Suns defender takes the mark. He's had 11 goals conceded on him in the last 2 weeks. Back to Powell, through the middle of the ground. A beautiful kick to Miller.
Took Miller marks and moves the ball on. The Suns will be bringing it right through the centre of the corridor of the MCG. Their first game here this year as Flanders takes the footy and kicks inside 50 towards Witts. Hands and knees, takes the mark.
Really smart kick there. Really smart kick. He had 2 players leading back towards the point post. If you're a spectator at the ground, you probably think he's going to kick over the top to one of those. But he just pulled the kick back, took 15 metres off it, put it out in front of Witts, who probably wasn't expecting the ball to come to him, but made him go for it and have a shot from 30 out dead in front.
So here comes Witts in the sunshine of the MCG. Kicks towards goals, and his strike is good. It's 3 straight goals to start the match here. 2 of those to the Suns and 1 to Richmond. Gold Coast 2 straight 12. Richmond 1 straight 6. 6 minutes played in the opening term. Saturday Arvo Footy on ABC Sport. Your experts Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke.
It's all pretty friendly. I'm not a fan of ping pong footy. It doesn't do a lot for me. It's going from one end to the other. I'm not sure what the pressure rating is, but it'd be quite low. But it is just a nice, civilised sunny afternoon at the MCG. So hopefully they can get to work and we can see some midfield turnover and tackle and pressure.
Well, it was the Saints Richmond game that we did a couple of weeks ago, and the Saints took 148 marks in that game, 30 in the first quarter. Then I thought, they can't allow them to have another 30, but they got more and more every quarter after that. So it was a really worrying sign that they couldn't change the defensive way that they were playing, the Tigers.
Even Ross Lyon said that felt like circle work as Nankervis wins down the tap. A free kick for over the shoulder going Toot Miller's way. His second match back. Having returned after that fractured wrist, the co-captain alongside Witts. He looks up inside 50, drives a long kick in the direction of Long. In from the side, Nankervis can't complete the mark. First back onto it though, he's tackled by Long, footy stuck underneath him. Eventually it comes out, the hand pass to Witts, got it from Holman. Gets the hand pass away to Closey. Under pressure, Flanders needs support. Hand pass to Butterick at 50 against the boundary. Centering ball on the bounce, great pick up Humphrey. Hand pass away, Flanders from the outside of the boot, steadies and kicks a great goal. The Suns with 3 of the first 4 goals of the match, including the last 2, to open up a 12-point advantage here at the MCG. 3 straight 18 to the Tigers, 1 straight 6. Meanwhile, in Geelong, it's the Cats who lead by 91 points over the West Coast Eagles. 19-6, 120 to the Eagles, 4-5-29.
There's so much of Damien Hardwick's Richmond in how the Suns play. They want to go forward with the ball. They get handball back away from goal end to their numbers, but it's not their first choice. They fight forward. They knock it forward. They are trending the right way. I'm not sure on the quality of the opposition, Clinchy, today, but you can see his thumbprints or fingerprints and thumbprint, handprint are all over them. A lot of prints all over them. But it's him all over this game style.
4 inside 50s for the Suns for 3 goals.
So back in the middle, it's Nankervis, who hand passes it away to Hopper. Hand pass to Bolton. Can find Taranto, who flicks it across back to Hopper, and he'll hand pass it away to Boston. Tigers moving quickly here, inside 50. The quick kick inside can't be marked by Bauer. He'll go back and get it. He can hand pass it to Morris Rioli. Drops it, then can pick it up again. He can have a snap towards goals, but it bounces once and goes through for a minus score through the left-hand side of the goalpost. So the first minus score for today to Morris Rioli. It's Richmond 1-1-7, trailing Gold Coast 3 straight 18.
Interesting seeing Bauer play again. He did some really good things against the Saints. A big, strong lad. Oh, there's a good grab.
Sexton with a kick in and a big fly from Noah Bolter, who takes the mark at right half forward. Came charging in from defence and was able to take an impressive contested mark over Nick Vlostone and Humphreys. Kicks out wide to Vlostone, who marks still 55 metres out from goal at the city end. Suns leading by 11 points. There's Vloston with a low darting kick in the direction of Nankervis. Witts makes the spoil. Taranto's front and centre, but his kick towards goal is offline to the left. Out of bounds on the full. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
The live ladder will be discussed a hell of a lot tomorrow with Super Sunday, Matt. But right now the live ladder is live at the bottom because of North Melbourne's disastrous loss in Tassie. Their percentage has actually gone below Richmond. So any win today for Richmond I'm not sure whether Adam Uze would want to use that to inspire his team. If they win today, they don't finish as the wooden spooner. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing for Richmond after such a horrible season.
It's a good one to look out for, Hodgie, to see if Richmond can avoid a 7th wooden spoon in their history, or like you said, if they even want to do that, as the ball has moved its way into the Gold Coast attacking 50, kicking towards the punt road end of the MCG in the first quarter. Most of the 50 still bathed in full sunshine in the afternoon in Melbourne as the ball's tossed back in. Miller can't handle it. It's kicked out of the 50 for Morris Rioli to run onto. He's taken in a tackle right on the paint of the 50-metre arc where we'll have a ball up.
I think they'd want to win, Berkey, wouldn't they? I think it's just fraught with danger to think anything else. You want young people learning things the right way from day one.
So Nankervis palms it down. It's Ralph Smith that can kick a long ball down the wing for Richmond. Southern side of the MCG. Bauer runs onto it again. He's got 3 Suns chasing him. He spins around and he dabs a kick inside 50. Perfect pass for Bolton.
Yeah, well done by the young fella then. He read the ball off the pack, was first one to pick it up, and instead of just sort of heading straight towards goal, he wheeled around, gave himself time to find a target, and also time for one of his teammates to run back inside 50 and pinpoint a pass in between 3 Suns defenders. So thought his way through that one pretty well.
Oldest trick in the book, young Suns defenders. You got a spare, so everyone stands off their opponent. Everyone should be locked on, and the free's the free.
Shea Bolton from 40 metres out, kicks towards goals, and he misses to the left-hand side. So behind for Shea Bolton to start his afternoon, it's Richmond 8, trailing Gold Coast 18, 11, nearly 12 minutes played in the first quarter.
33 goals, 26 for Shea Bolton, the leading goal scorer for the Tigers this season, without Tom Lynch for a large portion of the season. Sexton brings the back into Anderson, works it up to Ben King on the wing, kicks up towards Lukosius at half forward, has to fly against 2, spoiled down by Kosicki. Mac Andrews started forward this afternoon, hand pass to Humphrey, down low, too sharp for Lukosius, and is gathered by Vlosten, kicks into the middle of the ground for Richmond, and Baker takes the mark, still inside the defensive 50. He can flare it out to the Warren wing, where Broad running back with a flight takes the mark. Now's Ralph Smith around the boundary line. The Tigers are happy to play a kick mark game as they try and transition from half-back. The Suns by 10 points.
So short chip kick comes to Broad, and again he'll go for a short option where he's able to find Taranto, who marks outer side of the ground, front of the southern wing. So Tigers happy to control the footy at the moment in these early stages, trailing by 10 points against Gold Coast. As Taranto shields his eyes from the sun with his hand and kicks down the wing, but it's chopped off easily by Collins. So the Gold Coast defender now will stand in right half back with the footy, and again he'll just chip it to Butterick, who was barely 15 metres away from him. Butterick goes slightly further towards Lemons. So now the Gold Coast players have got to get ahead of the footy to try and move it down again. They're happy to take it slowly as the ball comes back to Butterick, and he marks still defensive side of the MCG. Then he decides to go long to a pack down. Long goes up, can't mark the footy, can bring the ball to ground. Davies will go in after it, so is Taranto, and in the end they're tangled up, and the umpire will come across and throw the ball up between wing and half forward for the Gold Coast. They're leading by 10 points.
It's good for Ben Long. He's actually found himself a steady position now. The Saints, he bounced between forward, back, wing, but it's good to see that they've been able to settle him down.
Suns through close, he looks inside 50. Graham couldn't take the mark. Flostone works it back to Broad, and a chance to try and clear here. Campbell's hemmed in the defensive goal square, has to blaze away. A high kick towards halfback. Mansell tries to wrestle with Sexton, spoils it down to the front. Flanders gathers for the Suns. Hand pass to Anderson, to Yulin, who cuts beautifully through traffic, but the hand pass wasn't as good. Sent Flanders all sorts of challenges, and he's locked up by Taranto. A ball up at centre-half forward for the Gold Coast Suns.
That would drive you mad if you're a Gold Coast key forward. Another handball to a stationary player when you equalise forward of the ball, even numbers in front of goal.
Mac Andrews and Kosicki do the ruck work. It spills down to Yulin for the Suns, drives them inside 50. King caught at the back, brought down by Bolter. Ball pinballs around, a chance for Anderson. Hand pass to Flanders, hand pass to Holman in the left forward pocket. Kicks off the outside of the boot. Taranto and Miller fly for it. It spoils out. A chance for the Tigers, although the clearing kick is chopped off by Flanders. It's touched on the boot, and Holman, eventually from the kick of Ross, is spoiled out of play And a boundary throw in the left forward pocket for the Suns under the Olympic stand. Gold Coast leading by 10 points, 15 minutes gone. Opening term, Saturday afternoon footy from the MCG on ABC Sport.
So stoppage now for the Suns. Mac Andrew in the ruck, palms it down. Lukosius picks it up, drops the footy. The umpire will pin him for that, and it'll be a Richmond free kick in defence.
That might be the annoyance there. You just needed to fight through the tackle a bit harder for me.
Taranto just chips the footy across to Baker, who moves the ball forward as well. There'll be a tackle here coming though on Ross, so he's brought to ground. His hand pass is forced out. Humphrey picks up the footy for Gold Coast, and then he's taken to the ground by Short, so the umpire will come in and ball it up right in front of our broadcast position.
Same number of kicks for these teams, both had 30. Richmond are going at 63% efficiency and Gold Coast at 86.
So
Probably why, sorry,
Bertie.
that's probably why they've got 9 inside 50 to 6, just far more effective with their feet.
Taranto tackled from the stoppage and wins the free kick right in front of his Richmond bench. And he balks around his opponent on the mark in Holman, and he gets some distance on his kick right to the top of the 50 for Richmond. McIntosh came running in. He couldn't take the mark. Campbell's there. He runs with the footy inside 50. Hand passes to Taranto, who's taken in the tackle. Has to hand pass it away, close to the boundary. Ross is doing the tackling on Sexton, and he holds him up about 2 centimetres in from the boundary line where we'll have a ball up.
They are biting off more than they were. They were very skinny at the start of the year. It was a bit of a Melbourne blueprint, but now they want to use the ground, and sometimes that can leave you exposed.
Thrown up. Tigers in the right forward pocket. Ross gets the hand pass out. Couldn't get it to Graham. Sexton for the Suns. Hand pass gets to Miller. Off the hands of Taranto. Tackle brought down. Davies lost it. Left the footy behind. A free kick going the way of the Tigers. And Jack Graham will take it. Was taken when not in possession. He's at right half forward. Just on the 50. He's trying to get around the back was Jaden Short. Blocking that was Humphreys, and now Jack Graham might put it to within the teeth of goal. Where are the Flyers? McIntosh is there. Mac Andrews has gone back. Collins has it stuck between his legs. At ground level, surely taken high as going over the top of him was Ryan Mansell, and the Gold Coast Suns defender will have it just millimetres out from his defensive goal at the City end. The Suns by 10 points, 17 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
Sam Collins with the free, long ball outside defensive 50. Humphrey flew, couldn't take the mark, brought it down to ground. Took Miller chased after it as well, and that was carried and juggled out of the boundary line for a throw-in. About 55 metres out from Richmond's goal.
Looks like they've had to change as a byproduct of the season and not winning games, and just actually find a way to move the ball instead of sticking to one plan.
Witts palms it down well to Anderson, who hurries a kick on his boot in the Andrew direction. He can't collect cleanly. It allows Short to come in with a chance of picking it up. He can move it around. Daniel Rioli again with the footy. Just scrubs the kick forward to the top of the 50. It'll make its way inside 50 for Richmond. Graham can pick it up. Hand pass it across to Mansell. He's got some pace. He uses it. He kicks it towards goals and he scores one. Well done from Mansell to weave around, take a snap at goal and put a major on the board for Richmond. The Tigers now within 4 points of the Suns. Richmond 2-2-14, Gold Coast 3 straight 18 after 18 minutes played in the first quarter. Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Well, I don't think the Tigers are going to take a lot of marks inside 50. So with those bomb balls in, because you've got Bauer down there. Kazitsky doesn't take a lot of contested high marks, so getting the ball like that in there on the ground, letting the small blokes there. The small blokes are very, very dangerous with Rioli and all those guys down there. That might be the way that they can kick a winning score rather than relying on that big long bomb.
For sure, and that corridor kick, Berkey, that's why the Gold Coast are inconsistent. That should never be able to connect like that. It wasn't a great kick. It should have been picked off and turned over, and they don't own the outside of the corridor. They get caught in too much.
All of a sudden, Ryan Mansell up to 21 goals for the season. Goalless only just once since round 8. Tigers inside 50 once more. McIntosh tries to get a hand pass away for the Tigers, but Powell gets a hand pass away to Lemons. Kicks up towards Humphreys, who juggles the mark on his knees in front of Short. Swings out onto his right on the members' side for the Suns, up towards Mac Andrew. He's caught behind against Miller, who takes the mark for the Tigers. Taking over the role for Dylan Grimes, the Premiership Tiger, who has announced his retirement, wasn't able to get on the park as much this year as he would like, but Richmond fans would like the look of Ben Miller. Kicks a high ball up towards Kazitsky. He and Collins tangle. Spills through the hands of Rao. Tapped on to McIntosh. Off the outside of the boot. Kicks up to Morris Yoli Jr. Bumped off it by Butterick. Did well. And allowed Holman to gather. Hand pass to Powell. Back to Butterick. Morris Yoli Jr. Great chase. Almost got him. No whistle. He's back onto the footy. Yes, a late whistle. And he doesn't want the advantage. And the Tigers fans love that. At the City end, they take to their chairs. And they're standing and applauding.
Great chase. Oh, there was no doubt about that free kick. It was right in front of him. He dispossessed him. He missed his foot. It was fantastic. They've let them have a little look at the game now. The Gold Coast and Richmond are now officially playing. They're running with some speed and they're going a bit quicker at the goal face.
First game since round 9. Didn't get to play in the Dreamtime in the G match in the jumper in which his mother designed. Here he is in from the left forward pocket. Morris Rioli Jr. Welcome back. And a moment to smile on the MCG as one of the Tigers' great footy names makes his mark as Richmond look to take the lead here at the MCG for the first time. 21 minutes gone. What a moment for Morris Rioli Jr. 3-2-20 to the Suns, 3 straight 18, and with the possibilities opening up for Richmond to jump off the bottom of the ladder, they take the lead for the first time. Nathan Burke and Brendan McCartney.
Well, that was Mansell and then Rioli. So, as we said, those small forwards, they're going to be really, really dangerous down there today. Interesting for the Suns that Lukosius, Weller and Rao, none of those three have actually touched the ball yet. So, they're doing a good job of covering Rao in that centre. And Lockie Weller's normally a guy who picks up a fair bit on the outside. He's yet to touch it as well.
Yeah, they're outside. They're living outside the contest area. Richmond are getting in and getting first hands on the ball, and off they go.
So that Dreamtime jersey in which they're wearing today, designed by Morris Rioli Jr.'s mother, Alberta. Design speaks to the connection between the Rioli family and the Richmond Footy Club, with 2 family totems, the turtle, the father, and the crocodile, the mother. And what a moment he was able to enjoy there.
And he signed his contract as well. So Daniel Rioli not signed, but Morris Rioli sticking around for a couple of more years. It's another clearance for Richmond. Inside 50 they go. Lemons can collect over the Gold Coast. Hand pass across to Davies. Hand pass to Sexton, who kicks long in the McAndrew direction. It's very high for him. He can get a hand onto it. Miller can pick it up though. He's tackled, dispossessed. Umpire says play on. Anderson picks it up and hand passes back to Rao. Will hand pass it across to Closey. He'll kick right to the top of the goal square for Gold Coast. King's there. Brings it to ground. It'll be Hewland with the footy. Hand passes it away to Flanders. Hand passes it away to Closey, who kicks right across the face of the goal. And it's out of bounds on the full for Gold Coast. So no change to the score, behind by 2 points, and Richmond with the free.
Earlier today it was Hawthorn, big winners by 124 points over North Melbourne. That match scheduled to an earlier start time due to some of the industrial issues in Tasmania. And Geelong leading the West Coast Eagles by 102 points, approaching three-quarter time as the Tigers work it through the middle of the ground. Jack Graham is bounding, a couple of bounces, drives it inside 50. Kazitsky and Ballard spoiled down. Power in at best. Hand pass to the Suns to Sexton, got Cannon into. Hand pass to Davies, works it over the top to Rao. Can get the hand pass away, out of defence through Anderson. Chips it out to McAndrew, who marks it left half back.
He's got Tuke Miller yelling for it, chooses not to go to him and instead goes a little wide up to Graham, who moves the ball along. It'll be another inside 50 here for Gold Coast. Again, it's King, top of the goal square. He's got 2 Tigers around him. Hand pass it away. Holman might be there to pick up. Ralph Smith can. His hand pass goes away. King's back there at the drop. Can have a shot towards goal. It'll bounce high and it's tapped through by Ralph Smith, who saves it. The very last line for the Tigers. And it'll just be a minor score for Gold Coast. It means Richmond's lead dwindles back to 1 point after 24 minutes played in the first quarter on ABC Sport.
It was a poor kick into Ben King then. If he just put it up in the air, Bolter doesn't get there. If he does, he gives away a free kick, but tried to dart the kick into him. He's a big fella. Give it some air.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport as Sam Banks brings the Tigers back into play. A free kick at left half back. And it's going to go their way. Jacob Bauer will get the free kick at left half back. Just blocks the sun out of his eyes on the Shane Warne stand side. He goes short, not 15. To Jaden Shorter, gives it back to Bauer through the middle of the ground. Set Graham a challenge. Can't take the mark, trying to palm it down. McAndrew knocks it on. A chance here for Graham through the middle of the ground, and Miller. Here go the Suns. Hand pass to Anderson. Vacant goalmouth. Steadies and bounces it through. The Suns take back the lead through Noah Anderson as they cut through the middle of the MCG. The Suns by 5 points, 4-1-25 to the Tigers 3-2-20 after Richmond had kicked the previous 2 goals of the match. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport.
Just to Berkey's point, he's 100% right that these are 2 undeveloped teams, one in particular, and undeveloped teams have a habit of when they're streaming through the middle of the ground with the ball, they see one option and they get very excited. Mature teams lower their eyes, wait for each other to catch up, look for each other, turn their head, and they see a multitude of options, and it's almost impossible to read for the defence then, and that's when you do open them up, and that's often the difference between young undeveloped teams like we're watching here at the moment and mature teams, and both of them had a go at. There was a forced entry for Richmond, forced entry for Gold Coast, then they sweated on the turnover and kicked a nice goal.
Back in the middle, it's Witts and Nankervis. Both get a hand to it. In the end, Witts shovels it away towards Anderson. Hand passes behind him. Nankervis gets it back. Hand passes it to Taranto. Quick inside 50 for Richmond. Players will run after it. Power was there first. He dived on top of the footy. Collins came in to help him. And with 7 or 8 players around the footy, the umpire blows his whistle to come and ball it up in the right forward pocket for the Tigers.
Might get a bit of feedback, the Gold Coast midfielders, from their coach, I think, at the break.
Witts, left fist, just punches it away. Picked up by Campbell, though. He'll have a shot at the goals. It'll fall short right at the goal mouth, but it's taken and marked by Hewland, who holds on to it for the Gold Coast. Kicks to the right back pocket towards Butterick, whose kick just dropped short for Anderson. He can pick it up cleanly and he'll be able to kick out wide, too wide for Weller, in fact. And it's just bounced once before going out. So it will be a throw-in between wing and half forward for Richmond. Gold Coast ahead by 5 points late in the first term.
Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport from the MCG. Thrown back in. Witts in front position, palms it down. Taranto can't take it. Rao goes to work, extracts the footy. Hand pass picked up by Ross of the Tigers. Stripped in the tackle by Flanders. Spills out towards Graham. Ross's hand pass to Taranto. Bangs it inside 50. Bolton and McIntosh collide. A chance for Mansell. Tries to get it forward. A hand pass to Kosicki. Worked off it by Collins, who'd lost it. Kosicki's hand pass chopped off, and in the end Miller with a clearing kick for the Suns. Out towards Lukosius and Miller. Miller just shoved him out of the way and wins the footy. Hand pass to Ross. The Tigers at left half forward. Looks up inside 50. Drives it long towards McIntosh. Getting back, it's rushed through. Bodie Hewland was able to get back and get a fist onto it. Through for a minor score. And the Suns lead by 4 points. 27 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport.
I think Shea Bolton, is it, that stayed down after that initial contest? He's back on his feet now, but the umpire's sort of going, hey, we'll wait for the trainer to come over and check you. He's limping around, looks like to be like a bit of a right ankle.
Are we officially on Lukosius watch today?
I think so.
I am. I'm being drawn to his lack of contest at the moment.
As Will Powell brings it back in for Gold Coast. Again, he kicks to McAndrew in a pack, who can bring it down to ground. Can't do anything with it. So ball stays in dispute until Sexton comes in after it, picks it up, but he's tackled to the ground by Taranto. So a ball up just in front of our broadcast position.
It is the one thing a player, when they establish themselves, Berkey, should base their game on, and then play the rest from there.
Yep.
All brought back in, across to Rowell, who just kicks forward in the Lukosius direction. He's beaten to the footy by Miller. It's Humphrey that picks it up in the end for Gold Coast. Hand passes it away to Toot Miller, who hand passes it towards Holman. He just tries to tap it to his side's advantage. No clean pick up then from Taranto to get it for Richmond. It falls out the back and Graham can pick it up. Hand pass it across to Daniel Rioli, who curves the kick on his boot to Prestia. Picks it up, hand passes it to Graham. He just shoves the kick forward. This will be easily chopped off by Powell, who can take a bounce and take a knock as well as he brings the ball forward, and it'll bounce out of bounds in all that mess in the end as Prestia has come off the bench looking a little bit sore, as we have a ball in just next to Richmond bench. About 29 minutes played in the first quarter. It's Gold Coast ahead by 4.
Well, they hurt, Loz, when you hit. Both of them have got the staggers now. Prestia, he might be having a lay down there.
He was lucky that he was right next to the bench, because he bumped into the Gold Coast player, really immediately winded, and just sort of, if he couldn't walk across the line, he would have rolled across.
No, they hurt.
Nathan Burke and Brendan McCartney with you on ABC Sport. Jack Graham ducks out of a tackle, wins a free kick. Hand pass into the middle of the ground for Ralph Smith. Corralled by Miller. Shanks a kick inside 50. Yulin leads up. He lost McIntosh. Hand pass to Sexton. He blind turned no one into a dead end and is run down by Seth Campbell. The Tigers are doing a lot right. They've had 62% of the match inside their forward 50. They just need to make it count on the scoreboard. A chance to take back the lead as he goes short to the pocket and finds Hopper. He's closer to goal, but on a tighter angle, a 45-degree angle, kicking from around 30 metres out.
Alex Sexton is another interesting one for the Suns. Been in and out of late. Was dropped a couple of weeks ago, came back into the side. That was just a classic case of a player just completely devoid of confidence. He picked up the footy, there's no one in front of him, should have just been flying out to the wing, second-guessed himself, turned back into trouble, got caught holding the footy. Interesting to see what they do with him at the end of the year as well.
Jacob Hopper, after the siren of quarter time, he misses to the right as he comes in just as the siren sounded. Kept under 20 disposals for the first time this season in their loss last week against Hawthorn. And at quarter time, it's the Suns who lead by 3 points, 4-1-25 to Richmond 3-4-22. The goals have come through Flanders, Witts and King for the Gold Coast Suns, plus Anderson, while for the Tigers, Graham, Mansell and Rioli. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
You just take your cues down here on the amount of pain that players are in. And Dion Prestia, I haven't seen a player in as much pain as he's in all year. It was a bone-jarring crunch right in front of me. And Macca was right. It was right on the interchange gate, so he's sort of on the way off from the bump. He actually rode it straight through the interchange gates and straight to the bench. He's been rolling around on the ground. Even now, he's on all fours. He's got the doctor with him. So you couldn't say that's just trying to get wind back in the lungs like that. You're worried that maybe it's an internal or a busted rib or something, just with the sheer amount of pain that he's in at the moment. So the doctors, he's actually now, you can see the doc's just walked away from him just to let him sit there in his own agony, and he'll come back and check on him in a couple of minutes. But Prestia is in a world of hurt right now.
All right, thank you, Hodgie. We'll keep an eye on him. So quarter time here at the MCG, and it's the Suns 4-1-25 leading the Tigers 3-4-22. Geelong lead the West Coast Eagles by 84 points at three-quarter time, 21-8-134 to the Eagles 7-8-50, with 8 goals for Jeremy Cameron. Come on down, chasing Joel Amarty's 9. Ollie Henry with 3, 2 for Stengel and Shannon Neal, and the West Coast Eagles struggling there at the Cattery, while earlier today it was Hawthorn who prevailed by 124 points, 26-14, 170 to North Melbourne 7-4-46. So what it means is that most likely Hawthorn will now play a home elimination final, having jumped to 5th on the AFL ladder. And for the Cats, that margin just being reeled in, but the possibility of jumping all the way to 2nd on the ladder, depending on what happens with Port Adelaide and the Fremantle Dockers tomorrow. Great to have your company on Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
No subjects are out of bounds, no questions are off the table.
These aspiring journalists
Be gentle on me.
will ask some refreshing questions,
Do you think making people laugh is the same as making people happy?
What a question.
but they'll disarm you with charm.
This is so exciting.
Mentored by Lee Sales, they'll interview Anthony Albanese, Delta Goodrum, Sam Neill and more.
What a life highlight this has been, and thank you.
Join the heartwarming new masterclass, The Assembly, streaming all episodes now on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Flanders, who picks it up for Gold Coast, puts it inside 50. Ben King standing all alone, 30 metres out from goal, easily takes the mark. So Ben King eases the ball towards goals, and he's got the first one this afternoon. Fake up, who just duds it inside 50, and Graham will mark. So slow and steady by the Tigers. They've finally got him inside 50, and Graham able to mark about 46 metres out. So Jack Graham launches it towards goals from 46 metres out, and he's put it through. It's Richmond with their first goal.
Centering ball on the bounce. Great pick up, Humphrey. Half pass away. Flanders from the outside of the boot. Steadies and kicks a great goal.
Graham can pick it up. Hand pass it across to Mansell. He's got some pace. He uses it. He kicks it towards goals, and he scores one.
Hand pass to Powell. Back to Butterick. Morris Rioli Jr. Great chase. Almost got him. No whistle. He's back onto the footy. Yes, a late whistle. And he doesn't want the advantage. And the Tigers fans love that. From the left forward pocket, Morris Rioli Jr. Welcome back. And a moment to smile on the MCG as one of the Tigers' great footy names makes his mark. Here go the Suns. Hand pass to Anderson. Vacant goal mouth. Steadies and bounces it through. The Suns take back the lead through Noah Anderson as they cut through the middle of the MCG.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The highlights of an entertaining and free-flowing opening quarter from the MCG. The Suns by 3 points, 4-1-29 to Richmond 3-4-22. These two sides playing for pride in the final round of the home and away season. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Tim Hodges is on the boundary. The thoughts of our experts, Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke, with you on ABC Sport.
I've got to word this the right way. Gold Coast be real. You look at the scoreboard and you think, oh, well, we've made a reasonable start, but when you look behind it, it's nothing like they would want to be. They've been belted at stoppage clearances, and that's born out of not wanting to get in and get your head over the ball. Once you lose the inner circle at a stoppage, you're in all sorts of trouble unless your outside shape is really good, and they're running through them like a hot knife through butter, and they're consistently being outnumbered and outworked to contests. And Berkey touched on some high-quality Gold Coast Suns midfielders who the club, they're pinning their future on those boys around the football, and they're on their day terrific players, but they're being outworked and outplayed, and to be down 10 in the contest and 7 or 8 in a clearance in a game of this, that's way below what they would want to be, and way outside what Damien Hardwick's DNA would be and his future plans for the footy club.
Clearances, yeah, you're at 14-6. Only just a 6 out of 20 clearances for this, Gold Coast Suns midfield. You look at the moment, you've got Witts in there in the ruck, you've got Miller, you've got Rao, you've got Anderson. Flanders has turned himself into a really high-quality midfielder. He had 9 in that first quarter, but to be beaten so comprehensively, that's something I think the midfield coach, whoever it is at the Gold Coast Suns, hopefully gave them a bit of a rocket, and we see a change in this second quarter. Well,
he would have had Dimmer in his ear for about the last 10 minutes of that quarter. What is going on in there? And I've been in that situation, and what you generally do is refer it onto the players at the break and hope you get a response.
Suns by 3 points as we start the second quarter. Nankervis wins down the tap. I think the bounce is going to be recalled. As it's a head down to Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Air is back in the lungs for Dion Prestia, I'm pleased to report, and he is back out there in the middle. Even Nicky, the media manager at the Tigers, was saying to the doctor, "Are you just going to leave him like that?" He said, "Just give it time, he'll be right."
Thank you, Hodgie. Rao gets the clearance of the Suns. Hand pass to Miller inside 50. Long tries to present. Spoils it down to the front. Flanders front and centre. Hand pass to Mac Andrews at the edge of the goal square. Can he finish? He can on his right. He is athletic at ground level and in the air. And Mac Andrew extends the lead to start the second quarter inside 30 seconds. 5-1-31 to the Tigers, 3-4-22. It does pose the coaching challenge of, will he be a forward or a defender, Mac Andrews, throughout his career?
Well, if you can pick up the footy off the ground like that and snap it from a bit of a tightish angle, that's pretty skillful. That's what we want from our forwards, but far better effort at that centre bounce there from the Gold Coast Suns. They just... wasn't pretty, but they just worked their backside off to get it forward. Got a contest from Ben Long and Flanders, and an easy goal in the end, but all come from that greater intensity in that centre circle.
He strikes me as a forward.
Yeah, I think so.
As a real conduit with King and the young kid coming through, Walter.
Kicked the winning goal a couple of weeks ago against Essendon for the first away win for Gold Coast this season, and they went down at home last week just to even things up a little bit. Play starts again in the middle. Taranto with the footy, hand passes it away to Prestia, is taken to the turf. And the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. Still in the centre square of the MCG.
One day that'll be holding the ball. If you handball to a teammate who's completely under the pump and they get caught, that should be your prior opportunity in my mind.
So holding free kick to Prestia, who has the ball back edge of the centre square. He'll kick inside 50. Bolton went up, could only get a hand onto it. He can run onto it now. He can pick it up cleanly. He stands up. Hand passes as he's nearly falling again. Right to Morris Rioli, who is caught by 2 Gold Coast players who easily wrap him up. And we'll have another ball up, this time 40 metres out from Richmond's goal.
That was incredible by Bolton. Just his hang time and knock on and handball. He's such a clever player.
It's great athleticism to watch. As the ball comes outside a defensive 50, it's Sexton who kicks a long spiralling kick down the wing. Broad tries to trap it, he can't. Long's there to pick it up though for the Gold Coast. He can spin around and he'll be able to kick in the Andrew direction to 2-on-1. It's a big punch from Bolter to put it out of bounds for a throw-in. Just outside of attacking 50 for the Suns, who are now holding a 9-point lead early on in the second term.
Well read by Noah Bolter, coming off Ben King, spoiling that one over the boundary line. I think he does better as a defender for mine.
Thrown back in, Witts palms it down to Rowell against Nankervis, back to Witts. He's able to just squeeze a kick, but it doesn't gain much territory, not 15, so Hopper had to get a quick hand pass away. Mac Andrew overran the footy, so did Miller. Sliding in, Dan Rioli's desperate, tries to knock it out to Miller once more. Ball stuck underneath Rowell, who lays the tackle, and the umpire will ball it up just inside the 50 for the Gold Coast Suns. They're 5-1-31, the Tigers 3-4-22. Crowd of over 30,000 in at the MCG for this Saturday afternoon. The top tier is pretty much empty at the Punt Road end, apart from a few fans who have made their way up to the top bleachers. And the umpire will ball it up once more as Ralph Smith can't break away. The Tigers in their traditional Dreamtime at the G jumper. The Suns in their predominantly red away strip as the kick from Davies towards the teeth of goal, spoiled away from Ben King. A chance here for Closey. Hand pass to Holman, chips it out to Flanders, who's sliding on his knees. Marks tight in the left forward pocket, only about 5 metres in from the boundary, 35 metres out from goal.
They've got some more urgency about them, the Suns, which is good. And probably got a little bit of a prod at the break from the coaching group. I'm sure they did. But Rao set the scene then, head down, drove through a ground ball. The big ruckman's giving 1, 2, 3 efforts around the ball, and often that's how you generate your emotion and enthusiasm.
Sam Flanders kicked a goal in the first quarter, has 10 disposals, needs 25 to break Gary Ablett's all-time disposal record in a season. This is a great effort from the left forward pocket. Sam Flanders splits it. And the Suns are playing inspired footy in this second quarter. They've kicked 2 goals in the opening 4.5 minutes to stretch out a 15-point advantage, having conceded the lead to the Tigers in the opening term. 6-1-37 to Richmond 3-4-22. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport.
Well, I think the Suns have won the last 4 against the Tigers, so this will be 5, and I think that means that that's their longest winning streak against any particular team. So that'll give them a little bit of confidence in recent form that they've managed to beat the Tigers. But I think Sam Flanders has really come of age this season. He's one player for the Gold Coast Suns who's really starting to show us what he can be, and that is a quality midfielder who can also go forward and kick a few goals as well. He's a bit of a ball magnet.
Umpire bounces it back in the middle. Nankervis tries to pick it up. It's Bolton in the end that can gather it. Hand pass it to a running McIntosh down the southern wing of the MCG. Long kick inside 50, 30 metres out. Bounces in space. Morris Rioli just taps it away. Then has to chase after it. Short's there to pick it up first. He can get a hand pass away. In comes Anderson for Gold Coast. Shoves it on his boot. Quick hand pass from Witts across to Flanders. And he can kick long to half forward for Gold Coast. It's long. He can't gather. He's got a teammate in Graham there to help him. He'll have a kick at goals, and it goes right across the face for just a minor score for the Gold Coast.
Well, we just saw what Berkey was talking about with Flanders. Young midfielders, you ask yourself, are they talent-based or work rate-based? And he ran past 8 or 10 Richmond players, 10 or 12 of his own teammates. He's work rate-based, but he's also got a lot of capacity, and that's the growth for this footy club.
Brendan McCartney with you on ABC Sport as Jaden Short spotted McIntosh all on his own at half-back. Takes 2 bounces, runs the worn wing, kicks inside 50. Shea Bolton works his way to the front and takes the mark against Lemons as he's brought down. It's been pretty quiet, Shea Bolton so far, but a chance to try and get involved. Just the 5 disposals here, shooting just slightly right of centre, 35 metres out.
It was a complete breakdown of the defence of the kick-in from the Gold Coast Suns. McIntosh had 30 metres all by himself just on the edge of the square, and I'm glad he didn't muck around with it and go short and try and overdo it. He just trusted his player 1-on-1 inside 50, and Shea Bolton didn't let him down. That's
where their mid should have been. They weren't. They were still walking through the middle of the ground.
Shea Bolton looking to answer back for the Tigers. He comes into the punt road end and steers it straight through the middle. Will he stay or will he go? He's showing up here at the MCG to cut the margin back to 10 points the Suns' way. 7 minutes gone, second quarter. 6-2-38 to the Tigers 4-4-28. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sports.
So what I meant by that, Clinchy, is that they surged the ball forward the Gold Coast and then had a flying shot on goal, and most of their mids, apart from Flanders, were still pretty much in the centre circle. But they should be up covering corridor in case it is a point, and it was a behind as it played out and bounced straight up the other end of the ground. And how many possessions? 2, and they're having a shot on goal. And a pattern for hard-working midfielders, when it goes inside 50, you should get to fill the corridor so that it's tough for the opposition to get the ball out and wingers can cover each side.
Pitts and Nankervis are getting in it. Nankervis runs after it to try and get a tap. It's Taranto who can get the clearance away to Prestia. Hand passes away to Baker, who kicks right. Inside 50, slams it along the turf. And it's ably picked up there and cleared out of defence by Gold Coast, who can send it to the back edge of the centre square. Holman comes in after it. He can hand pass it away. Miller runs after it. He can't pick it up. In comes Daniel Rioli. Finds himself in some space. He'll just ping it at the sticks himself. And listen to the roar. Daniel Rioli, what may be his last game for the Tigers, puts one through the middle. And the Richmond fans show their appreciation for him. The only Tiger to have played every game this season, a season that's just been riddled with injuries for the Richmond Footy Club. And Rioli gets one, the margin back down to 4 points in favour of Gold Coast. Gold Coast 6-2-38, Richmond 5-4-34, 9 minutes played in the second term on ABC Sport.
One player chest to ball, drove through it, and the other player reached. You saw the same thing, didn't you?
I was just about to say there was one bloke who wanted that footy and about 5 others who were hoping that it'd roll out to them.
Yeah, and your eyes get drawn to that as a coach, don't they, Berkey? Yep. You just go, hang on, this is a ball that we need to, at worst, halve, and it can't leave the area.
Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport. Back in the middle, Witts wins down the tap. Non-officiating umpires paying a free kick. No one's really sure which way it's going. It's a Suns free kick. Contact with the umpire as Witts gives the hand pass away to Miller inside 50. Awkward bouncing ball for Ben King. Hand pass to Lukosius. Miss Flanders. It spills out though. Here's a chance. Charging through. Steading is closely and missing to the left-hand side. A minor score, a 5-point lead the Gold Coast Suns' way at the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. I mentioned the wingers a few moments ago. I was just having a look for the Suns. It was Lockie Wellermacher who hasn't touched the footy 10 minutes into the second quarter.
No, they're devoid because there's no real work rate or system to what they're doing, so you sort of get the ball going over your head all the time.
So short to Banks, who clears the kick from defence for Richmond, and Bauer comes through the pack to take the mark. A young Richmond emerging star just tried to kick it across to Baker. It wasn't a good-looking kick in the end, and Baker has to chase it out over the boundary line along with Toot Miller for it to be a throw-in just in front of the Gold Coast bench.
So, Clinchy, what happens when you're a winger or an outside player and your system's right? You get involved in the play with the second or third touch, but there's no method to them.
Nankervis taps it down, then Rowell goes after it. In comes Flanders as well for Gold Coast. He can funnel out a hand pass to Miller, who hand passes back to Rowell, who spins around, then puts it on his left boot. And he can find Anderson, who just indicates to his teammates just to slow down a little bit as he goes inside 50. Mac Andrew standing all alone. 50 metres out. Does he want to have a shot from here? Doesn't look confident, but he might line up anyway. Tougher than a 45-degree angle, and it will be a kick from outside of 50s if he does want to go for goal.
That was Flanders again, just drove in, crunched the pack, came out with the ball, and they've got a shot on goal.
So here goes Mac Andrew, little stuttering step forward, kicks from 52 metres out. He's got the distance, but it's wildly offline for a behind.
Should he have a shot from there, Berkey, or should he try something else?
No, just be patient. Go sideways. Go sideways again and again. And it's almost like there's a shot clock when you get the ball on the 50-metre line that you have to have a shot or you've got to kick to the top of the goal square. You don't have to.
Yep. 6-point lead, the Gold Coast Suns' way. As Jaden Short brings the Tigers back into play to Ross, who wants to play on. Takes on Ben King and ducks around him. Kicks up the Shane Warne stand side. McIntosh from behind. Spoils it down against Lemons. Butterick, good clean pickup and fends off the tackle of Campbell. Jags to kick up the wing. King has to present. He presents the space in front. Can't juggle the mark against Poulter, who now comes over the top. And the umpire will ball it up. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Tim Hodges down on the boundary. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke, your experts for Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. If the Tigers win by any margin this afternoon, they'll jump off the bottom of the AFL ladder. The Suns playing their first game at the MCG for 2024. Ross tries to extract the footy. Hand pass towards Prestia. It goes out of play. Meanwhile, the Cats closing in on time on in the final term, holding a 97-point lead over the West Coast Eagles. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Clinchy, worth noting, it's just hit 22 degrees, which is insane when the conditions here at the MCG last night, which were cyclonic, and we had to stop for lightning, and the weather forecast it's coming tomorrow across Victoria, but this weather it's summer-like at the moment.
So maybe suited to the Suns as they make a movement inside 50 here off the boot of Anderson. It comes inside to Humphrey. Hand pass across to Flanders. He'll have a ping at the sticks and it slams into the left goal post. So Flanders doesn't add to the 2 goals he's got already, and Gold Coast Suns lead goes out to 7 points, 13 minutes gone in the second.
So Gary Ablett's disposal record in 2012 was 675. Sam Flanders needs 25 to surpass that this afternoon, and he's playing like little Gaz today. Possibility of a 3rd goal on offer there, just couldn't quite finish. As the Tigers through Short, Prestia, and now Baker try to find an avenue out of defence. Down low to Dan Rioli. Takes the mark at left half back around the members wing to Prestia. They're just chipping over the top of the Suns' defence. Now to Taranto. They thought about the hand pass back to Prestia. Now gives it away to Banks. Arches the back as Graham offers chase. Down low for Kaczynski. Couldn't get his fingertips underneath. In fact, it was Mansell. It spoils into the middle of the ground. Rouse hand pass to Holman. Hand pass forward to Graham. Anderson, clever knock on. Got it to 2 Miller. They're out the back here. Long going back with the flight against Miller. Takes the mark. Top of the goal square. Straight through the middle of the ground. The Suns make the Tigers pay.
They're going to kick a goal here, but I'm just watching their mids. I don't want to be Gold Coast Suns midfield belting around the ears for the day, but they just sweat on a ball that drifts forward of the contest, and there was no effort to get back and support the defence, and that's where good teams hurt them, and that's why they're falling short at critical moments. There's not enough balance and work rate to their game.
Ben Long looking for his first goal of the afternoon and to extend the Suns' lead. Goal umpire has to skate a fair way to the left, but the all clear is given. And they answer back after a couple of consecutive goals for the Tigers. The margin is back to 13 points, having led by 16 points early in this second quarter. 15 minutes gone. The Suns 7-5-47. The Tigers 5-4-34. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport.
Because you're right, mate. You look at that passage of play, the ball goes down to Ben Long. It was Miller who kicked it. It was Rowell and Anderson who just sort of flicked it over the back and says, oh, well done by their 3 midfielders. But they basically got it because Kaczynski couldn't get his hands under the ball, bounced off his knee and went to them, who was trailing the contest inside their defensive 50, and against good teams that doesn't cut it because Kaczynski doesn't have to dive for that marker. He marks it on the chest.
Oh, the wrong side of the ball. They had to be defensive side.
Kaczynski in the ruck now for Richmond. He chases after it. It's Graham that gets there. Hand passes it away. Picked up by Closey of Gold Coast. He can hand pass it to Rowell. He'll have a bounce. Ralph Smith is chasing him. Hand passes it to Davies, who flicks it across to Anderson. Shoves it on his boot quickly to get him into attack. Andrew flies off the back of his Richmond opponent. He might be pinged for that one. I think he will. And it'll be a free kick going the way of the Tigers.
It was more of a leapfrog than a attempted mark. Put the hands on the shoulders and almost went straight over the top.
I was going to say he was channeling a bit of Jack Revolt as he tried to take a specky in the forward pocket right on the shoulders of Nathan Brawl with both hands. Now, Jeremy Cameron's booted 9 goals down in Geelong, Berkey, so you have around the grounds responsibilities. Give us a wave if he gets 10, given that Joel Amati kicked 9 for the Sydney Swans, so looking for a season high. And he's kicked the same amount of goals as the West Coast Eagles have this afternoon.
Well, there's still 10 minutes to go in that game, so there's a fair chance he could end up with a dozen.
Davies tackled by McIntosh on the members' wing, and the umpire will ball it up. The Suns leading by 13 points, 7-5-47 to the Tigers, 5-4-34. Cats can fly as high as second on the AFL ladder with a big win over the Eagles. Put the pressure back on Port Adelaide ahead of their clash against the Dockers in the final match of the home and away season. Davies can't break away. He's tackled and the umpire throws it aloft once more. Witts wins down the tap for the Suns, but it's Vostern who gathers for the Tigers. Hand pass to Baker, kicks out to space. Mansell has a couple of metres. He reels it in front of Buttery. Shea Bolton was on the lead. He's too slow. He chips it over the top and Ross marks 55 metres out from goal.
I really like what Richmond are doing. I saw them through the middle of the year and they were just straight and plain and defensive, but they're really using the MCG and playing with some, opening the ground up, and they're tough to defend at the moment.
Ross to Banks and now to Vostern. He's at the edge of the centre square though, so just loads it up towards the teeth of goal, needing a flyer. Collins spoils it down. Ricochets out in front of Holman, who tries to fend off Ross, who escorts him over the boundary line in the right forward pocket. The Tigers lock it inside 50. The Suns by 13 points. 18 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
Umpire will toss it in the little pocket of sunshine still remaining in the right forward pocket where Richmond are kicking. Tossed in and then it's brought back over by Davies, just a little closer to Richmond's goal.
They have got to work a bit more at stoppage, the Gold Coast Suns, and that's helping them at the moment.
So umpire will flick the ball in. Witts has front position and he just flicks the ball over the top of his head. Anderson can't run onto it. Taranto meets the footy and then Anderson meets him. Comes back to Taranto, who can quickly hand pass a ball out, but it's Closey who can clear the kick for Gold Coast. Right to the outer wing, southern end of the MCG. Bolter's there for Richmond. Hand passes it to Kaczynski. His kick smothered by Holman. And Holman gets the footy back from King. He can take a bounce. He's got free spare space ahead of him. He can have a second bounce and now he'll kick it. He kicks to Andrew, who has to run to meet the footy. He was in a battle against Miller and Miller did well to win out and tap the ball away to Vostern. And he'll be able to send a clearing kick away to the left half back towards Ralph Smith, who's now directing all his Richmond teammates to come this side of the ground. And he kicks down and he finds Campbell. So he's able to find Seth Campbell, who debuted in opening round against Gold Coast. He's played 22 games for the season. The umpires found a free kick going the way of McAndrew. So he's given it Gold Coast way. He's turned the ball around there. Andrew's gone inside 50. Lukosius has juggled the mark. There weren't many players inside 50 after the confusion. And Lukosius has marked in the right forward pocket.
Just saw his incredible athleticism and talent there in Lukosius. So I'm back on him, Loz. But there's some growth areas for the Gold Coast. That's a time where you just wait for your teammates to catch up. Good teams have already got their defence set and you kick it straight back to them, but they've got lots to work on, the Gold Coast, and they'll have the summer to get better at it.
Lukosius has made his way back into the side after spending time in the VFL. Kicked 5 goals against Casey, has spent time in defence, in attack. He now has a shot at goal and he's curved it through. So he's got it through, Lukosius, and he gets a few high fives from his teammates too, who all come around just to celebrate a little with him. Now he's back in the senior side. So Gold Coast Suns lead out to 19 points now. A game high lead of 19 points. 8-5-53 leading Richmond 5-4-34. It's 20 minutes played in the second quarter of Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
So that force kick, as a team matures, the guys around McAndrew just say, just wait, hold up, wait till we catch up, wait till we get in front of the ball. And that's how system and teams being on the same page can maximise their opportunity and endure and work through tricky little patches in the game. So, as I've said a couple of times, we've got two teams who are in a hurry sometimes forward to centre to go in one direction instead of opening up other avenues.
They've had the last 6 scores, the Gold Coast Suns, as they're out by 19 points. Back in the middle of the ground, a chance for another one as Anderson drives it inside 50 over the head of Lukosius. Broad comes out in front of McAndrews, but it's Graham. Gets the hand pass away. Lukosius off the outside of the boots. Can't quite curl it from left to right. And a minor score. A 20-point lead the Suns' way. 21 minutes gone. Second quarter.
So footy. The defensive goal square with Short holding on to it, kicking duties for Richmond. He finds Ross, still in defensive 50 for the Tigers.
Rouse had 6 this quarter, Miller 6 and Anderson 5 and Flanders 6. So the Gold Coast midfield is certainly, whatever rocket they got at quarter time, they've responded.
Ball on the outer wing. Power went after it for Gold Coast, and players are just on the turf waiting for the umpire to break things up. And we will have a ball up on the southern side of the MCG, about centre wing. So the Tigers could jump off the bottom of the ladder with a win. And of course, Gold Coast could have their most successful season ever in their history if they could notch up an 11th win of the season, although it won't mean finals for them, of course. So still not ticking off that major marker for them.
There's no Harley Reid sort of floating around this year as the clear number 1, so there's no real incentive to, let's make sure we end up last.
So an Anderson kick inside 50, Lukosius will mark, and he'll be paid. It might have had a little sneaky hand in the back there, but Lukosius will be paid the mark, and he'll kick this time from about 20 metres out, nearly directly in front.
Harley Reids don't come along all that often, unfortunately. Love watching him, but there are some high quality. They'll get a good player. The key is to get, when you can, the talented kid that's got a great attitude to work and be coachable and want to be a good teammate.
Lukosius from nearly directly in front kicks the ball straight through the middle, and he's got 2 in a row. Jack Lukosius with a couple, and it's 5 goals this quarter for Gold Coast as the Suns extend their lead out to 26 points late in the second term. It's Gold Coast 9-6-60, Richmond 5-4-34. Your experts on ABC Sport, Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke.
Sorry, you go, Burke.
No, I want to see some fight here from the Tigers. There was Taranto and Hopper was standing next to Rowell and Anderson. And Rowell and Anderson just shrugged both of them off, won the clearance, got the ball through, which Lukosius marked. So they're senior big-bodied Tigers. They can't be getting just pushed around by these young blokes.
Yeah, they have evened up the clearances in the contest, and that's taken them all quarter, but it's reflective of the scoreboard now. And it often is. Teams dominating possession through contest and stoppage often are winning games.
Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Back in the middle, Hopper for the Tigers, gets the clearance, kicks up towards Prestia. Tap on was chopped off though. Powell, hand pass to Rowell, almost run down by Morris Rioli Jr. Did enough to put him off the kick. Vlostone can't take the mark, spills out to Davies. Flanders gets a hand pass into the middle of the ground. That's Prestia for the Tigers, slipping over Hopper. Graham slides in for the Suns, chips it inside 50, and Long is outmanoeuvred by Miller. A bigger frame and body takes the mark, the Richmond defender. 40 metres out from his defensive goal at the city end. The Suns by 26 points, having kicked 5 goals to 2 so far in this second quarter. So goes short, Miller, and Vlostone has it at left half back. Vlostone wants to switch play to the Shane stand side, but nothing really on offer, so cuts back to the members side. Kicks it out to Ralph Smith, he takes the mark. Another one of the Tigers who signed on as he turns inboard and finds Prestia. Between wing and half forward for the Tigers can go to Dan Rioli, who's in front of the bench. 4 Gold Coast Suns players lined up ready to come back on. Chips it over the top to Taranto. Got a little shove by Sexton. Kind of milked it trying to get a free kick for 50. He veers out to the right, kicks it inside 50. Kajitsky's against 3. Wits in from the side, spoils it out of play. And a throw in on the Olympic stand where a lot of the Richmond fans are this afternoon, and at the punt road end. The Tigers trailing by 26 points.
Kajitsky can't missed the ball by a metre in that marking contest. The ball was kicked long to him, and he basically got just out-bodied and did not even get within a metre of where the ball lands. He's got to be far stronger than that.
Ball tossed in, Taranto chasing after it. He can't pick it up cleanly. Anderson comes in and can. And then Taranto does the tackling. That's Humphrey rather, who's being pulled up from the bottom of the pack.
I think the only thing in fairness is one of their strengths, Gold Coast, their key backs. They do body well and take really good proactive position early.
Tosses it up close to the boundary line, and in the end, Graham's able just to see it over from the ball up to a throw-in.
But you're right. It's the main job of a tall key. A key forward has to get chest to ball and give you a contest, at least bring it to ground.
Tigers having had just the 2 wins to cheer about this season. And a few fans here today to see off some of their retiring players in the sunshine of the MCG as Nankervis can hand pass it away to Taranto. He's swung around in a tackle, can just get the hand pass away. Flanders will pick up though for Gold Coast. Hand pass to Witts, quickly gets the hand pass away to Davies, who shoves it on his boot, high kick, and it's able to find Closey, who'll just mark right half back for the Gold Coast.
Suns by 26 points, 9-6-60 to the Tigers, 5-4-34. The Suns have put 5 goals to 2 so far in this quarter. The kick from Closey up towards the wing. Broad set himself, just couldn't quite hang on to the mark as he's locked up by Lukosius and Long. A ball up on the members' wing. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden call the action. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke, your experts on Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. From the ball up, Hopper tried to gather. He couldn't do so. It's Holman who gets it into the middle of the ground. The hand pass away. The kick from Powell. And stuck underneath it is Flanders once more. Leads the way with 16 disposals for the Suns. Tim Taranto with 17 for the Tigers. 13 for Anderson. And 12 for Graham. That's Jack Graham for the Tigers.
Hopper tries to pull it out. Flanders does in the end. He can hand pass it to Davies, who hand passes it across to Sexton. And he'll kick high and just to the top of the 50 for Gold Coast Suns. The ball will be brought to ground. Humphries is there at the bottom. The umpire's blown his whistle and found a Richmond free kick though, going the way of Boston. Nick Boston, the 3-time premiership, had a bit more of a younger brigade down there in defence to lead the season. Although chips it to his premiership teammate in Prestia in defence, and Prestia decides to go for a run, take a bounce, and then kick it down the wing. It's Ballard in a one-on-one against Kaczynski. Neither of them win out in the end, and it's Bauer who can pick it up. He's under pressure, though, from the Suns, and Ballard can get a hand pass away across to Sexton. He's being tackled. He has to get a hand pass away. The umpire gives him the time to do that. Hand passes it across to Powell, who hand passes it to Rao. He's at right half forward. He can just chip a kick to the top of the 50 and find Graham. Will Graham holding on to the footy for the Suns. Packed forward 50. He's 55 metres out from goal. He just waits, and it's the right decision. He chooses his kick, and he finds Ben Long.
And that's one we were talking about, Macca.
Yeah, the bridge, just bridge it in, just drop it in shorter.
Yeah, and he can, if he doesn't think he can make the distance here, we'll just do it again.
Yeah,
and do it again.
Yeah, it's more productive, more efficient, and it's more team. And at worst, you'll get a rest too, and you can set up. All their backs now have got time to set up and be ready for the next phase of play. It's more organised.
Ben Long nearly 50 metres out. It's a good-looking kick, and it's there. Ben Long's got a couple for the match late in this second quarter. His goal is also the Suns' 10th, and Gold Coast Suns extend their lead out to 32 points, 10-6-66, playing Richmond 5-4-34. Nearly 30 minutes played in this second term. Your experts on ABC Sport, Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke.
Just on that one, Maggot, and a quality of good players is they just want the ball. Like Ben Long then, his teammate had the ball 55 metres out. Most of the other Gold Coast forwards had resigned themselves to, he's just probably going to have a shot or he's going to kick at the top of the goal square. That was probably the third or fourth lead that Ben Long did, because he just wanted the ball. I'm going to find a hole. The Tigers have switched off a bit. I'm going to find a hole, and he ended up getting it. It wasn't, talent or anything like that. It was just a desire to want the football.
6 goals, 5 the way of the Suns in this quarter to 2 goals straight for Richmond. Nankervis tries to get the clearance. Mac Andrews left it behind. Tim Taranto, hand pass away to Hopper, tackled, holding the ball as he's locked up by Butterick. A great tackle on centre half back for the Gold Coast Suns. A 32-point lead the Gold Coast Suns' way as he looks to swing it out towards Lemons at right half back. The Suns have taken control in this second quarter. Lemons looks around the members' wing. 31 minutes gone as we close in on half-time. Sets it in the direction of Mac Andrews. From behind, Bolter comes crashing through, brings the ball down to the front. Prestia tried to hand pass through legs. Nankervis decided just hack it forward, and the intercepting mark taken by Butterick for the Suns once more.
He's got Ewan close and just chips it out to him, standing in front of the interchange gates. Getting some words from the boundary, telling him how long left, and you can see Witts just directing him to go long from being on the bench. That's exactly what he does. No mark can be taken by King. He goes after it again. Ball spills out and Ross can collect. Hand pass to Morris Rioli in Richmond, trying to work it along the northern wing of the MCG. Bolton picks it up, hand passes it across to Kaczynski, who hand passes it to Short. Hand passes it backwards to Taranto. So although they tried to move it quickly, it wasn't quick enough. And the siren will sound to mark half-time. So the Suns ahead by 32 points after making their mark in the second term, scoring 6 goals to 2. So it's Gold Coast 10-6-66, aiming for their 11th win of the season, leading Richmond 5-4-34. Goal kickers for the Gold Coast, a couple to Sam Flanders, Jack Lukosius with 2 in the second quarter, and Ben Long with 2 as well, while singles are to Noah Anderson, Jared Witts, Mac Andrew and Ben King. And the goal kickers for Richmond, Morris Rioli with 1, Daniel Rioli with another, Shea Bolton, Ryan Mansell and Jack Graham also with singles. But at halftime, it's Gold Coast ahead by 32 points.
So the Suns having led by 3 points at quarter time. Richmond took the lead just before quarter time, but emphatic in that second quarter. 6 goals, 5 for the Suns, and the Tigers with plenty of work to do at the main break. The possibility for Richmond to jump off the bottom of the AFL ladder with victory this afternoon over the Suns after a big win for Hawthorn down in Tasmania, winning by 124 points over North Melbourne. The thoughts of Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, the Gold Coast Suns got back into the game via the contest, and a bit of that was they did tidy their defence up so that they forced Richmond to go a little bit slower and go more to a contest, which means you got time to turn up and arrive and support and get more numbers there, which increases your chances of winning the contest. And they just slowed down. They were more organised forward to centre. They actually waited for each other. The Ben Long goal, they just worked their way inside 50. They had a bit more method to their work forward of the ball, and that's what you need. So if your contest is trending the right way and you're getting inside 50s, it's about maximising that time in the game where you've got opportunities off the back of your work rate. The Tigers, and I'm enjoying watching them because I think they are trying to find out how they want to play. I've got no doubt Adam arrived with a system akin to Melbourne at the start of the year, and they haven't been able to execute it because of a variety of reasons. Predominantly 95% of their team was out injured at one stage, but they're now exploring using the ground. They're changing lanes more. They're relying on not just one way of taking the ball forward. They're actually opening the ground up, but that does expose you defensively as a young team because you get less chance to set up behind the ball. But it's fun watching it. They're two teams that are trying to get somewhere. The cracks in Gold Coast are quite obvious when they're there. They're not as reliable in their attack on the ball, and their work rate to get back and support their defence isn't there. And that for me is why they're a 10th team, 12th team. Good teams do that 80-90% of the game. And excuse me, they're not quite at that level yet.
You look at the stats and there's really nothing in between it. They've both had 174 possessions. The clearance is 21-17, so the Suns won that quarter 7-11. But everything else is pretty much the same. Inside 50s, tackles, very similar. 8-4 marks inside 50 in favour of the Gold Coast Suns. And really, it just goes to show if they've had the same amount of possessions, it's just what they do going inside 50, and the Suns have been able to find some free players. They've been able to get the ball fast and transition through to the middle of the ground to an open forward 50, whereas the Tigers, to me, they seem like they want it to be a little bit too perfect, and so they're reluctant to sort of bomb that ball in, which is sort of the hallmark of Richmond of old, was just get it inside 50 and we'll just clean it up and make something out of it. We've seen, I think it was Hopper, just try and take someone on outside 50 just for that perfect kick. The only time they kicked the ball inside to a 50-50 was to Shea Bolton, who took the mark and went back and kicked the goal. So I'd like to see the Tigers just not try and be so perfect going inside 50. They haven't got players down there who are going to mark it, so just get it in any old way that they possibly can. First opportunity, put the Gold Coast defenders under pressure, because through the middle of the ground it's quite even, but it's just what they're doing inside 50 that is really the difference in this game.
Full-time in Geelong, 26-12, 168 to the Eagles, 11-9-75. So the Cats secure a top 4 finish with a 93-point win. At one stage, they jumped to second on the AFL ladder as the scoreline ballooned over 100. But the Eagles able to score a couple of goals late. The storyline, though, is Tom Stewart was subbed out with hamstring awareness and an Achilles soreness for Lawson Humphreys, who's also finished the match on the bench. Jeremy Cameron finished with 9 goals for the Cats, so he joins Joel Amati with the season's highest goal-kicking tally.
And second in the Coleman now, because I think Kerner had 57 and Jeremy was on 49, so that 9 takes him to 58, so gets himself into second on the Coleman.
And just before we head to the news, Macca, we're watching down in Geelong as Tom Hawkins gathers in the club tracksuit top, and Zach Toohey, who's announced this season will be his last. But for Tom Hawkins, whether he gets back or not, I guess is still to be determined. But his legacy at that Geelong Football Club, the impact in which he came in with such a young and promising, the son of a gun, and he leaves as a premiership player and a proud father now of the kids, and we see Zach Toohey with his kids as well. So an Irishman who made his way to Melbourne to join the Blues, didn't know a lot about AFL footy, but he leaves as well as a premiership player for the Cats.
Yeah, he's had a great career, hasn't he? And he's much loved. He's a really good footy person, and he's much loved down there. I did bump into Hawk in the street the other day at the butcher shop. He's hard not to run into. You forget how big a human he is, but I was sort of chatting away to him, and it just occurred to me he's never changed. The same lovely young bloke who was just so easy to talk to and full of gratitude and respect for people around him. It's still there, but he's optimistic about getting back. That's what he spoke to me about. He said that he's on track to get back and play. He had his rough month early after the injury, just rehab. He hadn't spent a lot of time in rehab for about 8 or 9 years, and rehab is in a good way an injury clinic. He said he found it quite lonely and missed being out with the players, but he was back out running and moving with them and really enjoying it. But he's going to be missed. He's one of those guys that are missed when they leave the game, really missed. Not all of us get missed, but he will be. He's been a beauty, and he's just been so good to watch.
13th highest in the AFL goal-kicking history, a 3-time premiership player, a Coleman medalist, a best and fairest, and a 5-time All-Australian, including a captain of the All-Australian side in 2012, despite never having captained a club before. Tom Hawkins is gathering there as the Geelong and the West Coast players are on either side, and we're just waiting for Zach Toohey to complete his television interview. So it's an interesting West Coast Eagles coaching job now as Jared Schofield's time comes to an end as to who are the candidates who want the job and who are keen to put up their hands. So Don Pike with a bit of a process to try and complete as the finals start to roll around.
Word internally is that Jared Schofield has the respect of the players. He's sort of given them a new lease of life and enthusiasm. We've got a really good relationship with the players. Not very often do we see the caretaker actually get the gig, but the way that they're all sort of jumping out of the lifeboat into the water, he might be the last one left. I'm hopefully he gets it if he wants it, because even today they were 100 points down at half time. They actually won the second half. Won the second half by around about 7 or 8 points. So, that's a coaching effort to get the boys to bounce back from what was obviously a horrific first half.
And the 3 kids are out there for Tom Hawkins at the moment. He's doing a television interview, so they're not worried about making the West Coast Eagles wait. We might pause and get our commitments out of the way, and by the time we come back, he will have been given... hang on, he's telling Sarah Jones, right, I better go do the right thing here. So he might be serving us as well. The match review officer's findings has come through. It's a 3-match ban for Keziah Pickett for his bump on Darcy Moore last night. So a challenge to Simon Goodwin, given Cozzy has found himself in this predicament on a couple of occasions, but it'd be interesting to see if they challenge. But the Demons most likely to be out without him for the start of 2025. As Tom Hawkins is gathering a guard of honour on either side. So the Geelong players on the left, the West Coast players on the right, and for Zach Toohey as well. So kids on either side, and what a family moment it is for both of those 2 individuals. Tom Hawkins, the son of a gun, 3-time premiership player, and Zach Toohey, the Irish Games record holder as both of them wave in the final home game at Kardinia Park, with most likely Geelong's final to be played at the MCG. So the Geelong faithful getting their chance to say thank you to Tom Hawkins and to Zach Tui. And what a commanding victory it has been, a 93-point win over the West Coast Eagles as they tune up for September. We'll pause here at the MCG and get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. It's election day in the Northern Territory, with votes being cast across 25 seats from Darwin to Arnhem Land and Alice Springs. Territory Labor was voted into government in 2016 and are looking for a third term. The race is expected to produce a tight result. ABC Chief Election Analyst Anthony Green says since the Territory is a small jurisdiction, results are quite often close. Regional solidarity in the face of the climate crisis and security will be top priorities at next week's meeting of Pacific Island leaders in Tonga. Kerry Worthington has more.
The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres and the US Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell will travel to Tonga for the Pacific Island Forum Leaders Meeting, highlighting international support for concerns facing the region. The UN chief is expected to call for greater climate change assistance. Pacific leaders will decide on an application by the US Pacific territories of Guam and American Samoa to join as associate members, as the US eyes Chinese influence in the region. During the meeting, which starts on Monday, leaders will consider a proposal to boost training of Pacific Islands police to enable forum members to assist each other with security in a crisis.
New South Wales police say they're treating the death of a man as suspicious after his body was found at a park in Western Sydney this morning. Emergency services were called to a park on Rawson Street in Auburn just before 7 o'clock, where a man believed to be in his 30s was found unconscious. Detectives have been canvassing CCTV footage to determine his prior movements. Acting Superintendent Mitchell Newton says officers performed CPR on the man, but he could not be revived.
He has an injury to the back of his head. How that injury was caused, we don't know, and that's what we are endeavouring to find out. If anyone was in that vicinity earlier this morning, I'd encourage them to contact Crime Stoppers for us.
A 41-year-old man has been found safe and well in Western Australia's Kimberley region after he was reported missing earlier this week. Nigel Buck was last seen leaving his home at the Yungara community on the border of Noonkanbah Station late on Tuesday night. Police launched an extensive search as there were serious concerns for Mr Buck's welfare due to the heat and remote location. Police have confirmed he was found safe and well this morning near the Noonkanbah town site. Investigations into a blaze that destroyed a historic hotel in central Queensland overnight are underway. Molly Slattery has more.
Emergency services were called to the Baralaba Hotel southwest of Rockhampton about 2:30 this morning. The pub, which has been a mainstay in the regional community for almost a century, was found fully alight. 13 people were evacuated from the building and treated by paramedics. No one was seriously hurt. It took 4 fire crews more than 3 hours to contain the blaze. A crime scene has been declared as investigations into what sparked the fire continue.
Still in Queensland, where the state government has launched a new campaign to educate young people about the importance of consent and the dangers of coercive control. The campaign will roll out across social and legacy media ahead of affirmative consent laws coming into effect next month and the criminalisation of coercive control from May of next year. Queensland Attorney-General Yvette Darth says the campaign aims to speak both to victims and perpetrators of domestic violence.
Because if we do not change the behaviour of the person doing the harm, we will not break the cycle. It cannot just be about removing people from harm. It's got to be about breaking this cycle.
US forces say they've killed a commander of the Al-Qaeda militant group in Syria. They say he died in a strike carried out yesterday. He was said to have overseen terrorist attacks mounted from Syria. German police are appealing for help from the public following a mass stabbing at a festival in which 3 people died. They say the male suspect remains at large and they have only very limited information so far to go on. The suspect, armed with a knife, attacked people indiscriminately in a central square of the western city of Zolingen, where police issued this appeal for help.
We are, of course, still in urgent need of witnesses, videos, photos, anything. And we would be pleased if people have observed anything and could let us know.
And at least 14 people have died in a bus crash in Nepal. Officials say the vehicle bound for the capital, Kathmandu, crashed into a river. Rescue operations are continuing and the cause of the incident is yet to be confirmed. This is ABC News.
Tennis goes all year and now so do we. Join me, Catherine Murphy, every Friday on the ABC Tennis podcast. I'll be joined by former players John Millman and John Alexander.
Well done, JA. You picked the winner.
We'll bring you up to date on all the big stories, as well as how the Aussies are faring on the tour. You'll find the ABC Tennis podcast on the ABC Listen app every Friday, with bonus episodes available during Grand Slams.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Spoils it down to the front. Flanders front and centre. Hand pass to Mac Andrews at the edge of the goal square. Can he finish? He can on his right. He is athletic at ground level and in the air. Hand pass to Holman. Chips it out to Flanders, who's sliding on his knees. Flanders kicked a goal in the first quarter, has 10 disposals, needs 25 to break Gary Ablett's all-time disposal record in a season. This is a great effort from the left forward pocket. Sam Flanders splits it, takes 2 bounces, runs the worn wing, kicks inside 50. Shea Bolton works his way to the front and takes the mark against Lemons. Shea Bolton looking to answer back for the Tigers. He comes into the punt road end and steers it straight through the middle. Anderson, clever knock-on, got it to Toot Miller. They're out the back here. Long going back with the flight against Miller. Takes the mark. Top of the goal square. Straight through the middle of the ground. The Suns make the Tigers pay. Ben Long looking for his first goal of the afternoon and to extend the Suns' lead. Goal umpire has to skate a fair way to the left, but the all clear is given.
So an Anderson kick inside 50. Lukosius will mark. Lukosius nearly directly in front. Kicks the ball straight through the middle. And he's got 2 in a row. He just waits. It's the right decision. He chooses his kick and he finds Ben Long. Ben Long nearly 50 metres out. It's a good looking kick and it's there. Ben Long's got a couple.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Great to have your company for Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. It's the Gold Coast Suns who lead by 32 points, 10-6-66 to the Tigers 5-4-34. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Tim Hodges is down on the boundary. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke are your experts on ABC Sport. Hawthorn winners by 124 points over North Melbourne earlier today. 26-14, 170 to the Kangas 7-4-46, meaning that the Hawks have guaranteed their position to feature in finals in September. They're up to 5th on the AFL ladder at the moment. Massimo D'Ambrosio got the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year, and Geelong have secured a top 4 finish with a 93-point win over the West Coast Eagles. 26-12, 168 to the Eagles, 11-9-75, with Jeremy Cameron leading the way with 9 goals, joining Joel Amati as the best turnout for the season so far. Still to come later on tonight, Brisbane and Essendon from the Gabba, and the Sydney Swans host the Adelaide Crows. So coverage available on ABC Local Radio and via the ABC Listen app. If the game you're looking for is not on your radio, just click on the AFL Extra button. Just repeating that match review news that Keziah Pickett has been offered a 3-match ban for his bump on Darcy Moore in the second quarter. So the Demons and the Pies season coming to a close last night. And for the Demons, a chance to try and work their way through some of their off-field challenges and work out how they can try and rebound back in September. Brendan McCartney, Nathan Burke, the players have made their way back out. I'm sure Adam Uze would be keen to see a little bit more fight in the second half. And the jumpers of Dustin Martin and Dylan Grimes are on the change rooms as the Tigers made their way out onto the MCG before the match. And we have seen Dusty a couple of times on the big screen. So he's not in the coach's box. He's sitting in the player's box alongside Tom Lynch, which is probably, Macca, is that a bit more enjoyable way to enjoy the footy if you're coming along in that capacity rather than the coach's box?
You can still hear the commentary.
You can still hear it.
Okay. But the senior coaches down the bottom, that might help a bit. You can still hear the conversations, but they've got some work to do. you know, they're looking at the next 3 to 5 years of their club's history now, and by the end of the day, they could be, I don't know, 3 to 5 players worse off, Berkey. So, and these are players that really hold them together, to be honest. So they've got some challenges, and for Gold Coast, it's just about doing things properly, and these habitual behaviours becoming more habitual, so they're there all the time. That's what they'll be looking for.
Yeah, I think, look, there's been certainly steps forward for Gold Coast this year. If they capitulate now, it's probably going to put a really sour taste on their mouth through the whole of the summer and the pre-season. So if you're Damien Hardwick, you want to sort of capitalise on what's been a better season, a building season, and finish this game off well. But for the Tigers, I think the stories in the coming weeks are going to be far more important than what happens in this last half.
So the Gold Coast ahead by 32 points as the third quarter has started, and it'll be coming back to a free kick to Matt Rowell just outside the 2 centre circles. Be able to go on the attack here for Gold Coast. He can hand pass it away to Powell, who goes long inside 50. Mark can't be taken. King has a chance at it. Prestia picks it up and sends a clearing kick outside of defensive 50. Sexton went up and jumped at it. He couldn't gather it. It'll be Campbell rather for Richmond, who can. Good looking kick across to Bolton. It lands at his feet though. He tackles Lemons and he tackles him high. And Lemons will want to play on. He runs around the boundary line. He's pushed in the back. This might be coming back to him.
And a boundary throw in. As we welcome listeners from Cardinia Park, from Geelong and West Coast of the MCG, it's the Gold Coast Suns who lead by 32 points over the Tigers. 10-6-66 to the Tigers, 5-4-34. Matt Lynch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke are your experts. As the Suns go inside 50, Rao with a fend off. He tries to centre it, but it's over the head of Mac Andrew, and going back with a flight. Backpedaling, Jaden Short takes the mark. The Suns led by 3 points at quarter time. Richmond took the lead late in the opening quarter, but 6 goals 5 the Gold Coast Suns' way to 2 goals straight in the second quarter, as the Suns are able to stretch it to a 32-point lead at the main break. 2 goals to Sam Flanders, to Lukosius and to Long. While for the Tigers, there was a great moment for Morris Rioli Jr. in the opening quarter as he kicked a goal wearing their Dreamtime of the G jumper, which was designed by his mother. The Suns have worked it from the outer wing. The Shane Warne stand side to centre half forward, and Matt Rowell takes the mark. Edge of the centre square, heading to the punt road end in this third term. Kicks to Ben King, uncontested, he can't hang on the second bite. It spills out in front of Short, gets the hand pass to Ralph Smith, to Dan Rioli, to Miller, who looks to switch from the right back pocket to the left half back. Sexton underneath, rises over the top of McIntosh, spills out to Weller, didn't touch it in the first half, as he's locked up and tackled. Still hasn't got a disposal as Campbell locks the ball up half forward for the Suns. They lead by 32 points.
Noah Bolter, luckiest man in the ground, just let Ben King go, who dropped an absolute sitter.
Flanders takes it out of the ball up, across to Anderson, hand passes back to Powell, then he'll go into the left forward pocket and he'll go just wide of King for a boundary throw in. Gold Coast kicking towards the punt road end in this third quarter. Plenty of Richmond fans in the cheer squad making some noise. Probably 35,000 here in at the MCG on a beautiful day in Melbourne as the ball's thrown in and the umpires found a free kick from outside of the 50 looking in. It's a high free kick going the way of the Suns.
There's players, Ben Long was getting angry with Nathan Broad, and there was lots of jumpers and things, and players being flown around everywhere, but it was the off the play umpire who saw that the free kick was going to Flanders.
Sam Flanders with the free kick, 45-degree angle, kicking from about 40 metres out. He's been pretty busy throughout the afternoon for the Suns. He aims for goals and he's just missed. So 2 goals to Flanders, doesn't add another one to that score for him. It's Gold Coast now ahead by 33 points, 3.5 minutes into the third quarter on ABC Sport.
You said their most possessions in shots on goal as a midfielder.
Yep, it's been a dominant game by him, looking to break the Gary Ablett Jr. record of most disposals in a season. Back in 2012, McIntosh kicks the Tigers up to half forward. Campbell can't hang on to it. Fighting for it at ground level. Taranto tackled by Rowell, holding the ball. And the Gold Coast Suns ball wins it back at half back. It is the final farewell for a number of Richmond champions. Dustin Martin is in the house. He's sitting alongside Tom Lynch this afternoon. Marlon Pickett is the sub. He's also announced his retirement. Dylan Grimes and Sam Naismith. And out of contract, Liam Baker and Jack Graham. With Dan Rioli and Shea Bolton still too. Well, they're contracted until 2027 and 2028, but uncertain as to whether they will remain at Richmond. The kick around the boundary line by Broad, it spills out of play. And a boundary thrown in front of the members. The Gold Coast Suns by 33 points. 4 minutes gone, third term.
He's going pretty well, Flanders, but Gary did get hurt about round 15 that year, Clinchy.
Yes, he did.
Had a bad shoulder injury, didn't come back, so...
Don't have to remind Suns fans as to how their finals chances came crashing down.
So it's Taranto, rips it out and clears a kick inside 50, bounces a couple of times, and it bounces over the back and out for a throw-in as we head down to Tim Hodges on the bench.
Loz, just on the retirees for Richmond, also their legendary player and chief executive Brendan Gale. It's also his last day at the football. Earlier, before the game, was inducted into the club's Hall of Fame as a total surprise to him, but a really nice touch by the Tigers for all that Gale has done for this footy club.
Thanks, Hodge. He had his face on the banner as well, so the cheer squad just recognising him as well before he goes to take his job in Tasmania. As the ball's tossed back in, it's kicked from Campbell right to a pack, juggling mark players, Suns players everywhere, trying to take it. In the end, it's Closey who kicks a long clearing ball out, almost to the centre of the MCG. It's picked up by Flanders. He can hand pass it away from Long, who shrugs off the track tackle that was coming from Daniel Rioli, and he'll kick Long to half forward. Andrew sticks out an arm. He can't mark it. It'll come back to Will Graham, who just kicks off the side of his boot. Will bounce in front of McAndrew. He tries to gather. He's got a battle with Short for it, and Short wins out. He can hand pass back to Prestia, who'll kick to the centre of defensive 50, and the mark will be taken by Taranto.
He looks up and has options in the middle of the ground. He chips it to Broad. Marks at the back edge of the centre square. Out to the members' side for Kosicki. He marks it right half forward. Now Shea Bolton's inside 50 in the pocket, and Bowers going to the goal square. Kosicki's going to drive it as deep as he can in the Bower direction. Ballard sets himself, can't take the mark. Lemons in front of Shea Bolton. It goes out of play in the right forward pocket at the city end for the Tigers.
They show signs, Gold Coast, and then they'll have two or three things that derail them, and the ball just flies up the other end of the ground, and it's often because they just kick the ball to spots that do open them up as a team.
Toss back in. Witt's in front position against Kosicki. Spills down to the front. Rao will get the clearance for the Suns out of defence. Up to the wing towards Will Graham in front of Vlosten, who spoils it down to McIntosh. Hand pass to Prestia. Back to Vlosten. Inside 50. Baker on the lead. He marks right on 50 out to the right. This is almost within range for him. Dan Rioli wanted it, skirting on the outside. Noel Bolter wants it. He gives it on the second asking. Fires towards goal. It's way off line to the right and out of bounds on the full. He might want that moment back, Liam Baker. No change to the score. The Suns by 33 points. And with a big win for Hawthorn over North Melbourne by 124 points, there is a possibility the Tigers could move off the bottom of the ladder and avoid the wooden spoon with victory this afternoon.
Sean Lemons with the free brings it back in, and it'll come 60 metres out from defensive goal where it bounces over the boundary for another throw in. So Marlon Pickett waiting to get on the ground in his 91st and final game for Richmond. Would you prefer to have maybe one quarter on Berkey Macca, or would you just rather have called time and be sitting up there with Dusty Martin in the players box?
Oh, get me on the ground. You're off it for a long time for the rest of your life potentially, so get me out there. Who wouldn't want to run around the MCG on a sunny Saturday afternoon?
Footballers want to play.
Yeah.
So he's just got to sit there and wait, though, for now, until he gets the tap on the shoulder from Adam Uze. As the ball's flicked back in, well up, shoves it on his boot, gets plenty of distance in, and it only gets as far as Broad, though. He can pick it up, hand pass to Bolter, and then Broad runs, keeps running, he slips over, falls to the ground. Might have injured himself in that. Flanders picks it up for the Gold Coast, kicks down towards Humphrey. He has to hurry a kick right next to the boundary line. He can get it down to Lukosius, who's tackled by Miller and holds on to him. The umpire will come in and throw the ball up just outside of 50 for the Suns.
Broad's up, which is good. I think he laid down purely through embarrassment. He fell over.
Might have fell and slid into a knee too by mistake.
Yeah, Flanders got him right in the midriff as Nankervis for the Tigers. Hand pass to Jack Graham. Taranto almost too slow as well. Lays the tackle. Hand pass to the wing. Prestia was a clean pickup. Couldn't get it to Baker though. Toot Miller gathers for the Suns. Hand pass to Anderson. Has Flanders, who's been all on his own today. Hand pass to Toot Miller. Chopped off by Dan Rioli. Rushing back for the Tigers. He dribbles a kick. Couldn't quite get it. The execution he was looking for. And then the tackle is laid by Flanders once more. And Jack Graham has the footy stuck underneath him. So we've got Jack and Will Graham. We've got Ben and Toot Miller. So the various sides this afternoon. The Suns leading by 33 points.
And here's Toot Miller. He gets the tap out from Witts. It comes back to Richmond, though, who are able to steal it. Kick comes from Daniel Rioli. Just shoves it on his boot, looking for McIntosh. Can't take the mark. Graham comes in there and can find Prestia off hands. Hand passes it to Floston, who kicks it out wide. It's got Short running onto it. He might have some space here, Short. He'll go inside 50. He goes out wide. It's a good kick, and it finds Mansell, who is standing at the top of the 50 and able to hold on to the grab about 45 metres out, just inside from the boundary line.
It's happened again. I don't want to sound critical of their mids, but they just look to me, they play too offensive and too high up the ground. So when there's a crazy ball or an opening in the corridor, they just can't get back and support their backs. And if the opposition team's forwards widen and lengthen the ground, it's impossible to stop them.
Ryan Mansell kicking a goal a game this season. He puts the kick towards goals. It won't make the distance. It'll be punched over for a behind. So Suns lead down to 32 points. It's 10 minutes played in the third.
And I think it's out of chasing the ball, Berkey, and wanting the ball in their hands rather than team balance and what the ground should look like.
The voice of Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Sexton brings the Suns back into play up to Ben King, who was nudged out of it rather easily by Noel Poulter, who takes the intercepting mark. Member side in the middle of the ground for Prestia. Beautifully waits his kick to Baker. Inside 50, gets to 45, fires on goal. That's what the Tigers cheer squad wanted. Some fight from their tenacious Tiger, who streams inside 50 and kicks their first goal since the second quarter, the 9-minute mark of the second quarter, to close the margin back to 26 points. 10-7-67 to the Tigers, 6-5-41. 11 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke.
Ben King kicked the first goal of the day, an easy one over the top, but I suppose the best word that I can describe him as for the rest of the game is floppy. He's being pushed out of the contest far too easily. He dropped an uncontested mark down there. So many times he's had the front position. He's nearly 7 foot tall, jump up 3 foot in the air, stick the arms up, yet Bolter has still been able to bring the ball to the ground every single time. I just want to see some steel in the young fella to not just get outmarked here one-on-one on the wing, which enables the ball to get switched in the middle of the ground and a goal. It's just floppy and it's not good enough.
Ball's brought back into play in the middle. Taranto goes after it, tackled by Rao ferociously. A few of his son's teammates come to hold him up. We'll have a ball up at half forward. So we head down to Tim Hodges on the boundary.
The doctor went out to Nathan Broad, just checking on that jaw after the nasty collision before he was waved off. But thankfully Nathan Broad staying out there is okay, but is a bit sore and sorry.
Thanks, Hodgie. So another ball up, corner of the centre square. Punched away by Nankervis. Prestia chasing after it. Fires off a hand pass across to Ralph Smith. He hurriedly kicks inside 50. Bolton slips over. Allows Lemon a chance in there. Then in comes Yuland. He can take it. He's tackled by McIntosh and the umpire will cross his arms and ball it up about 40 metres out from goal for Richmond. They're trailing by 26 points. As the umpire throws it up, Nankervis goes back after it. Bolton has a go at it as well. He's holding on to the footy. He's tackled by one. He's tackled by two, all this time on the ground. And the umpire will come and he'll throw the ball up again about 40 metres out from Richmond's goal.
Tigers Army are trying to will their side to fight in this third term. As there's no chance for Holman to break away. Taranto lays the tackle with Toby Nankervis. So they're singing the Richmond song despite being well behind in the third quarter. Here's Matt Rowell. He's trying to extract it. His hand pass is chopped off by Baker. Kicks towards the goal mouth. It's over the head of McIntosh. It might work. Power leading into the pocket. Takes the mark in front of Collins. Hard in the right forward pocket. He's only about 15 metres out from goal, but this is a tight angle.
Yeah, well, good on the supporters. They're not drifting the rest of this season out. They want their team to fight, so they're going to get up and sing with just 10 minutes into the third quarter. So good on them. Hopefully the boys can respond.
Jacob Bauer, who was picked up in the mid-season draft in 2022 from South Australia, playing in his 7th game of footy, tight in the right forward pocket. He's going the drop punt. We'll have to try and work a miracle here, and he's up for it. The Tigers with 2 on the trot as the Tigers Army try and inspire their on-field leaders.
Geez, that was old school. He went right foot to boundary, straight drop punt, straight over the goal umpire's hat. You might bring it back. There'd be people all around Australia why don't people kick for goal like that all the time? But there's more. The angle's a bit more acute that way, but that was amazing bit of play. But there was really pivotal contest before that they won't over-review this game with the Gold Coast. But if this was a game to make the finals, that's a contest they'd be disappointed in. Rao, who is a little bull, was the only Gold Coast player inside the contest area. 5 or 6 teammates were waiting outside for an easy one. He actually got dispossessed, and then they got beaten on the outside.
2 unanswered goals to start the third quarter. The Suns lead cut back to 20.
Andrew in the ruck. Taps it down in the Davies direction. He runs onto it in the end. He's doing the tackling on Hopper. And the umpire will come in to sort things out and ball it up. So in the centre square, slightly to the advantage of Gold Coast end, kicking towards the punt road end of the MCG in the third. Rowell goes after it. Tries to kick it away, then has to go back at the hand pass from Davies. He's tackled. And the ball's just moved slightly towards the top of the 50. Let's check in with Hodgie on the boundary.
Yeah, Loz, it is amazing. It's a poor crowd. I don't think there'd be 30,000 here, but my goodness, they're making some noise. It's a carnival atmosphere, and they're trying their best to lift their team.
It's a long off-season, Hodgie, so might as well make the most of this last quarter and a half. Those Richmond fans at the punt road end as Holman picks it up. He's tackled. The umpire says play on, and Anderson can kick it across to Davies, who'll be the steadying hand here for the Suns. Slows things down and flares it out wide to Butterick, who can hand pass to Flanders. Right on the edge of the boundary. He'll go inside 50. The mark will be taken by long, just as close to the boundary line as where the kick came. So he's a couple of centimetres in from the boundary. He's about 40 metres out. And he'll stand back to the advertising hoardings to try and line up his shot. So long. It's a good-looking kick, trying to curl it in. He can't. And just a minor score for Ben Long. So Gold Coast margin out to 21 points, 16 minutes played in the third.
The voice of Lauren Borden alongside Matt Clinch calling the action. Tim Hodges down on the boundary. Nathan Burke and Brendan McCartney with you for Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Ben Long kicked their last goal, the 29-minute mark of the second quarter. Boston Long out of defence, up to the wing on the Shane Warne stand side. Andrew can't take the mark, spills to Noah Anderson, trying to get it to Rowell, tackled and brought down too high. Free kick going Mansell's way. The Tigers are lifting. Hand pass to Hopper. Through the middle of the ground to Taranto. And now Dan Rioli hits the accelerator over the top to Baker. 45 metres out from goal. Kicks laterally. They spoil each other. Campbell and Ralph Smith. And Closey for the Suns. Hand pass out to Humphrey. He's worked off it by Dan Rioli. Campbell's kick is wide and McIntosh, and it goes out of play in the right forward pocket. They'll throw in for the Tigers inside the attacking 50. It's the Suns who lead by 21 points. 17 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Geez, they're going to miss those two boys, Rioli and Baker, if they do go. They're their most, apart from Bolton, their most creative players.
Mac Andrew just picks it out of the throw-in. He kicks it out, but it's chopped off easily by Campbell of the Tigers, who puts the ball to the top of the goal square, punched away. In comes Baker going after it, hand passes it to Ralph Smith, taken high. The umpire says, no, it's mine, so he'll ball it up about 20 metres out from Richmond's goal. Up to throw it up. Campbell in the ruck for Richmond. He taps it behind him. It goes to Collins, and it comes back to him. And then it'll be cleared now through Ballard. Hand pass to Butterick, who hand passes it to Flanders. Flicks it across to Hewland. Outer side of the ground. He hurries it on his boot. Gets plenty of distance on it. Lukosius goes up, punches it away, and brings it to ground. It'll be Holman now collecting it, and he'll kick to the top of the 50 to Ben Long. Again, he juggles the mark. He's finally paid it. Hand passes it away to Lukosius. Top of the 50. He can kick it inside to the pocket to Will Graham, who running back with the footy takes an easy mark.
They had their chances, Tigers, to take the ball back the other way, but it was just a Richmond player on the wing. Just took too long to handball the ball, decided to take on the tackle, but did it half-heartedly, took on the tackle, ball spilt, and now the Suns are having a shot instead of the Tigers.
Yeah, if you're going to fight through the tackle, you've got to see it through. You can't have to.
It's Will Graham. Tough shot from the pocket. And he's got it. His first time on the MCG, Will Graham. And now he's got a goal to show for it.
The Tigers have got back up on top at clearances and contested possessions. And as I said earlier, they often go hand in hand. And their hot patch through the middle of the year, they were very dominant in the contest. And pretty much all of their scoring came from stoppages. Sorry, Clinchy, there's a bit of a crowd favourite on.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Well, that roar is for the final time Marlon Pickett is entering the game. He's been subbed in. So what a cool moment for him. What a cool moment for the club. Imagine if this can lift them in the last hour of footy for the year. Sam Banks is the unlucky Tiger to come to the bench and be handed the subs T-shirt for the final time. But Marlon Pickett into this game for his final game. He's a much-loved Tiger. Of course, made his debut in the 2019 Grand Final. A story probably we'll never see again, but he is in for his last, probably, 50 minutes of footy of his career.
In his first game since round 12 against the Cats, Dustin Martin shown on the big screen in a round of applause, watching upstairs. Back in the middle of the ground, press here for the Tigers. Hand pass chopped off. Witts tries to get a hand pass forward, but Dan Riola's onto it. Members wing, hand pass to Pressia, drives him inside 50 in the direction of Kaczynski, rescuing with Collins. Collins follows up, around the footy. Kaczynski to Pickett, a fairy tale. Hand pass to Morris Riola Jr. Over the top to Bauer. Listen to the Richmond roar. Jacob Bauer with his second, and Marlon Pickett into the action and involved in a goal. The Tigers Army are trying to lift their team as the margin is cut back to 21 points once more. 11-8-74 the Suns to the Tigers, 8-5-53. Victory for the Tigers would move them off the bottom of the ladder. While the Suns trying to claim their first win in their only appearance at the MCG in 2024.
Good signs for the Tigers. They're having more of a crack. I'll use an old-fashioned term, and it gets loosely used, but there's more grunt. The Gold Coast are surviving in this game purely on talent. They're almost full strength. They're pretty much full strength out there, and Richmond have got, we saw the commentary box with half a team watching the game.
21 points. Gold Coast lead as Matt Rowell gets a free kick. Back in the centre circles, he kicks straight towards Long. Him and his teammate end up leading the footy. It allows Ross a chance to come in and pick it up for Richmond. Hand pass to Daniel Rioli, who moves the ball to McIntosh, and he'll kick it right to Nankervis, who can take the mark, play on quickly and hand pass it to Daniel Rioli, who's made his way across to the southern wing of the MCG. Was looking for Morris Rioli, but it's Ballard who easily comes in there to clean it up, and he'll get the hand pass back from Davies. Hold on to the footy and just banging on his boot to half forward. Lukosius almost juggles the mark, drops it at the last second, and it'll be the Tigers that will be able to clean up here as Boston takes the mark from short and then moves the ball onto Taranto. He's got some space ahead of him. He chips it forward to find Bolton. You can hear the Richmond crowd coming into the game at the moment as Bolton tries to take on Lemons, and he's tackled to the ground and he'll be called for holding the ball. Tried to do too much, Bolton, and it'll be Lemons with the free kick for Gold Coast, leading by 21 points. 22 minutes gone in the third.
Lemons looks to drive them inside 50. Long and Lukosius won't get to Lukosius as Toby Nankervis flies in from the side. The Tigers captain takes the mark. Trying to lead by example as he goes just short to Jaden Short, who marks inside the defensive 50 at the punt road end. The Suns by 21 points. Out to Jack Graham, one of the unrestricted free agents at season's end. He has it at right half back. Hand pass to Nick Florstone, who runs the members wing. Looks up towards half forward. Kaczynski and Collins. They wrestle for positions. Collins works him underneath and takes the intercepting mark. Left half back. Comes inboard to Witts, who marks centre wing. The ruckman looks to go wider still to Humphreys. He marks in front of the Gold Coast Suns bench, where Ben King is keen to come back on. 2 goals to Flanders, Lukosius and Long for the Suns. They lead by 32 points at half-time. It's a 21-point lead the Suns' way. Humphreys out to the right, kicks Long towards Long. He's got 2 to compete against. Nankervis taps it down, offers the support to Short, and the footy is stuck underneath him. And the umpire will ball it up in the left forward pocket for the Suns. It's a bit of hanging on going on afterwards, and Ben Long wasn't all that happy with it.
It's one of my
the free kick.
He's one of my all-time favourite players, Clinchy, Toby Nankervis, for just his last two efforts, the way he goes back with the flight, exposes his body. He's just been an amazing player for Richmond for so long.
And Nick Boston gets the free kick and he kicks it to Marlon Pickett, who juggles the mark and gets plenty of applause from the Richmond fans that have come out today to see him in his final game. He kicks down and his kick will be chopped off by Powell, who sat at the back of the pack easily, collected that mark. And kicks defensively to Lemons, gets to him on the half volley and he'll kick it across to the right back pocket to Butterick, who chips to Anderson. So plenty of Gold Coast players free at the moment as they move it via a kick mark game to Touk Miller. Right half back, Touk Miller kicks it across to Butterick, who's run about 50 metres to be the recipient of that kick, and then he spears a pass to Rowell, who'll hand pass to Touk Miller, who tries to get some run on now for the Gold Coast Suns. He can go inside 50, McAndrew at the front, juggles it, he drops it at the end, can't take the mark. Humphrey will have a crack, going after it, he's on his hands and knees, pulls it up, stands up, and then he's taken in a tackle right down to the turf, and he won't be going anywhere. So a ball up now, 40 metres out from Gold Coast goal, ahead by 21 points late in the third term. Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
It was 6-2 the way of the Gold Coast Suns in the second quarter. It's 3-1 the way of the Tigers so far in this third term. From the stoppage, Dan Rioli locks the footy up with Jaden Short, and the umpire circles and will ball it up with Humphrey on the bottom of the pack.
They need the next one, Clinchy, then I think we've got a game.
It's been a funny sort of 15 minutes as the crowd has really tried to will Richmond into this contest. They started singing the song. It's almost like the Collingwood chant as Rouse hand pass to Davies, down low to Ben Long, can't take the mark. McIntosh spoils it away. Hand pass back to Miller from Dan Rioli. Now has to try and break the tackle of the Coaches, and Will Graham taken over the boundary line before the tackle hit stick to throw in the right forward pocket. The Gold Coast Suns are pressing.
Just got to find a way to get out of the back 50 without giving a goal up, keep it wide, get some territory, because they're doing so much right. It's so good to watch.
Ball spun in, Nankervis just picks it out from the ruck, tries to get a kick away. Marlon Pickett comes in to pick up the footy, he can, and he'll kick it out to the northern side of the MCG to Bolton, who taps it away. He tried to tap it to his advantage, but it's quicker than he is and bounces out of the boundary line for a throw in just to the right of the Gold Coast benches.
That's the play. They've been stuck there for 4 or 5 minutes, and to get some territory, now they can set the field up and their forwards can reset, and they've got people behind the ball, at the ball and in front of the ball. It's terrific.
So ball tossed in from the umpire. Witts palms it down right into the path of Weller. Shoves it on his boot, can get it to the top of the 50, but McIntosh will be able to mark for Richmond as we check in with Hodgie on the boundary.
Yeah, the Suns have just made their sub loss. Alex Davies came to the bench and was handed the T-shirt, and in comes Jake Rogers. So Jake Rogers into the game for Gold Coast. That's both substitutions have been made. Marlon Pickett in for Sam Banks at the Tigers as well this term.
Thanks to Tim Hodges on the boundary. As here he is, Marlon Pickett. He's going to get cheered every time he gathers a possession for the remainder of the match. At left half back, kicks up towards Kaczynski. Collins makes the spoil. Morris Rioli Jr. in air. He gets a hand pass forward to Baker. Tackled by Rao. Ball spills clear. Here's a chance for Butterick. Tries to knock it onto Rogers. Hand pass away to Powell. Under pressure. Hand pass to Rao. At right half back, his hand pass missed Holman. He's got enough time to gather though. Gets the hand pass to Rogers. To Yulin. Coming the other way. Pickett lays the bump. It spills to Prestia. Hand pass to Pickett. He got it from Kaczynski. Tries to come back inboard to Prestia's hand pass is a turnover. A shocker to Flanders. The Suns take it back. Although Miller's hand pass put Flanders under enormous pressure. Nankervis laid the tackle. It spills out to Holman. Hand pass to Jake Rogers. Kicks up towards half forward. Caught behind Lukosius. Was it over the shoulder against Miller? Play on's the call. Here's Touk Miller once more.
He picks it up quickly. Hand passes it away. Picked up by Anderson, who hand passes backwards to Yuland, who kicks it towards Butterick. He's got to juggle it to himself. Quickly hand passes it away under pressure to Miller, who had 3 Tigers behind him. He can get a hand pass away to Butterick, and then Butterick kicks down to Nick Holman, right half forward for the Suns. He'll wheel around, flat ball inside 50. Bolter right there for the Tigers. Front position takes the mark and moves the ball onto Prestia.
They've forced Gold Coast lies into a handball game. They've just got to keep their heads on and find each other now.
Prestia hand passed it to Daniel Rioli. He goes out wide to Morris. Kicks it now to Pickett, bounces off his face, comes down. Pickett runs after it, gets a hand pass away as three Suns were closing in on him. But it will be a ball up in the end, top of the 50.
They're doing so much right. They're pressing, they're forcing Gold Coast to over handball, but they just can't connect with the footy. And I think that was a face catch, wasn't it? I don't know what.
The last 5 minutes of football has been atrocious.
It has. But their pressure and their fight and their defending and coming forward to defend is so good. They've just got to find each other and get the next one, and they're in the game well and truly. Crowd's with them too.
To break things up, the umpires found a free kick to Nankervis just outside the 50. Kicks to a pack. Yulan tries to get a punch away. And it's Gold Coast emerging with the footy via Butterick, who clears with a clearing kick outside of 50 towards Lukosius. McIntosh is there. He can hand pass it across to Daniel Rioli.
He gets the hand pass to Marlon Pickett inside 50. It's over the head of Mansell. Yulan lost it, spinning through as Baker. It ricochets off him and goes out of play. Up against the left behind post. The Tigers have it inside 50 at the city end of the MCG. The Gold Coast by 21 points. Almost half an hour gone in the third term. The Suns led by 32 points at halftime. Richmond have come charging back in this third quarter. Witts up against Kazitsky. It bounces off Witts' chest into the path of Collins. Just clears it to space at half-back. Charging after it, Noah Bolter, but the siren sounds to three-quarter time. And the Suns hold a 21-point advantage. 11-8-74 to the Tigers. 8-5-53 for the Gold Coast Suns. 2 goals to Flanders, Lukosius and Long. Individuals to Andrew, Graham, King, Anderson and Witts, while for the Tigers their goals have come through. 2 to Jacob Bauer. They all came in that third quarter. Individuals to Shea Bolton, Morris Rioli Jr., Daniel Rioli, Mansell, Graham and Baker. The Suns leading by 21 points at three-quarter time. It's their only outing at the MCG in season 2024, while the Tigers have won just 2 games for the season, but with victory today, they could move off the bottom of the AFL ladder after Hawthorn's 124-point win over North Melbourne. 26-14, 170 to the Kangas, 7-4-46. It means the Hawks are guaranteed their final spot. They're up to 5th on the AFL ladder. And Geelong secured their top 4 spot with a 93-point win over the West Coast Eagles. 26-12, 168 to the Eagles, 11-9-75. With Jeremy Cameron leading the way with 9 goals. And the match review officer, his findings is in. Keziah Pickett has been offered a 3-game suspension for his rough conduct charge against Collingwood captain Darcy Moore in the second quarter of last night. Careless conduct, severe impact and high contact. Great to have your company on Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Sport and Spice brings you the big picture conversations and plenty of fun every week.
My life flipped upside down, like kind of overnight.
My dad, unfortunately, broke his neck surfing.
She's kind of like synonymous with success.
Okay, this is my job of hurting myself every day. Like, that's not an easy thing for the mind to wrap around.
A lot of us were saying, well, where's the conversation around the girls going?
Hosted by me, Declan Byrne and Lavender Bai, listen to Sport and Spice on the ABC Listen app or find it in the Best of ABC Sport folder wherever you get your podcasts.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
But Prestia beautifully waits his kick to Baker. Inside 50, gets to 45, fires on goal. That's what the Tigers cheer squad wanted. Some fight from their tenacious Tiger. Here's Matt Rowell. He's trying to extract it. His hand pass is chopped off by Baker. Kicks towards the goal mouth. It's over the head of McIntosh. It might work. Bauer leading into the pocket. Takes the mark in front of Collins. Hard in the right forward pocket. Playing his 7th game of footy. Tight in the right forward pocket. He's going the drop punt. Will have to try and work a miracle here. And he's up for it. The Tigers with 2 on the trot. As the Tigers army trying to inspire their on-field leaders.
Top of the 50 and kick it inside to the pocket to Will Graham, who running back with the footy takes an easy mark. Will Graham, tough shot from the pocket, and he's got it. His first time on the MCG, Will Graham, and now he's got a goal to show for it.
Kaczynski to Pickett, a fairy tale, head pass to Morris Rioli Jr. over the top to Bauer. Listen to the Richmond roar. Jacob Bauer with his second and Marlon Pickett into the action and involved in a goal. The Tigers Army are trying to lift their team.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
As we turn for home at the MCG, 1 quarter to go. The Suns leading by 21 points, 11-8-74 to the Tigers, 8-5-53. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Tim Hodges down on the boundary. The thoughts of our experts, Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke.
Well done by the Tigers there. The game looked like it was going to get away for them, 30-odd points down, and the Suns started to get a few easy goals, but they fought on. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't a great passages of play, but they didn't give up. And credit to their fans at the ground here who started the Richmond song around about 10, 12 minutes into that quarter. I think they could see the writing on the wall that this game was just going to drift away and to be 30, 40-point win to the Gold Coast Suns, but inspired the boys to lift. They drove the ball inside 50. Again, it wasn't pretty, but they got a contest inside 50. Probably had the best contest inside 50 than what they've had for the whole game. Inspired move to bring on Marlon Pickett. He actually had 7 possessions and a score involvement with his first touch after coming on halfway through that third quarter. So fresh legs certainly paid for him, but they just need to make sure that they kick back-to-back goals here. At the moment, it looks like they're going to get one, and then they make a mistake or two, and then Gold Coast are going to get one back the other way. It's getting those multiple goals in a row that's going to be the trick for the Tigers. But for the Gold Coast Suns, they're a far more talented team. If the effort matches the talent, well, then they'll run away from this game. If their effort drops off at all, well, the Tigers, who knows, might still be in this one, Macca.
No, great summary. It was... We sat here and watched a game all day that went around in circles, up and back, and the crowd was, I won't say asleep, but they were pretty quiet. And then all of a sudden, Richmond start to press forward, press the ball carrier. Gold Coast start to overhandball it. They get panicky. There's some body hits. They take the ball off them, and they build the crowd. And then because they're young and rushy and haven't got that fluency and connection bit yet, they found every way possible to stuff it up. Either it's bounced off their hands, it's fallen short, or they've dropped easy marks, or it hasn't quite connected in the goal square for them. But they played the game the way they want to play, and the effort versus talent. The Gold Coast is still stuck in a rut of relying on talent, and they're inconsistent with their output. And Richmond, they're one goal away from being right in this game, is my gut feel.
Final term underway. Nankervis wins down the opening tap with the Suns leading by 21 points. Free kick for high contact going the way of Richmond's Jacob Hopper. So Matt Rowell has 24 disposals. Noah Anderson with 19. 26 for Sam Flanders leading the way. 25 for Prestia and 24 for Taranto. The kick inside 50. Yulin in front position is able to hang on to the mark. As the kick just fell shallow, he's able to push off Seth Campbell to take the mark. It's out to left half back on the Shane Warne stand side, and Closey takes the mark. Suns led by 32 points at half time. Richmond were able to fight their way back in that third quarter with 3-1. It's Closey around the Warne wing in front. Bolter spoiled away from him by Ben King, and it goes out of play. Spoke a bit macro about Jack Lukosius. He kicked 2 goals in the second quarter alongside Ben Long, but have you seen his, I guess, presenting and trying to play his role?
He's inconsistent. He's got potential wrapped all over him, and I call potential talent without work ethic, and it can really weigh you down after a while. The next step for him is to get really competitive and fight his way through games.
So Bolton marks centre half forward, then just chips out to Pickett. Still at centre half forward.
Have a crack.
He's got to find another one, unless he's found a kick that I've never thought he had.
Well, the man on the mark is 54 metres out from goal.
I think he's going to pull one. Berkey is just going to drop one to the top of the square.
Pull out the big torp?
Maybe.
So Daniel Rioli ran past him to say something. As Maurice Rioli just looks like he's going to give it everything he's got. It's not enough. It's not even online, and it falls to the left forward pocket where Lemons takes the mark, or he's paid the mark in the end for the Gold Coast. So he had a crack Pickett, but wasn't very close in the end.
They've got no idea what they're doing with the ball, the Tigers. They're good to watch and they have a go, but gee whiz.
Levens now with the kick for the Gold Coast, just kicks out to a pack. Pickett's in it again, can tap it down. Nankervis goes after it. He's tackled by 2 Suns players, a lot shorter than him, Ninwala and Rogers. And the ball will be thrown up just outside attacking 50 for the Tigers. So Witts can palm it down this time to Anderson. Long hand pass from him. Boston tries to track it, can't. Andrew goes after it, he grabs it, and then he's tackled by Pickett. And the umpire will come call for the ball and will ball it up just outside the interchange gates.
It's fair to say the Tigers are fueled on adrenaline and passion, but we're seeing reasons why they've only won a couple of games for the year. Spills out off Witts towards Rowley, tries to knock it onto Anderson. Pickett flicked it up to Baker. Legally, says the umpire. Hand pass to Jack Graham. Inside 50. Kaczynski wrestling. Ulan spoils it straight into Campbell's head. He tries to gather. Tackled by Ballard. Brought down. The ball spills clear. Ulan gets a hand pass out to Collins. They're under pressure. Sexton run down by Morris Rioli Jr. Just got a kick away. It spills out to Anderson in the right back pocket for the Suns. Hand pass to Witts. He's tackled by Baker. It spills out to Weller. At right half back, they've had to wear some tackles to get it to the wing. Anderson kicks up towards the wing. Pickett got him in the back just as he got the kick away. And it won't be a downfield free kick. It'll come back. Tim Hodges on the boundary. The atmosphere downstairs, it feels like the Richmond fans at least don't want to see their side finish on the bottom.
It is amazing. We said it last term, the amount of noise 30,000 people are making. Just an observation on Adamuze. He's not a comedian, clearly, but he kept his last address of the year really light. I think he cracked a few gags. I think he maybe singled out Marlon Pickett. And I just wonder, for the boys up the back, would he have referenced the fact that if you win this quarter, if you can beat the Suns, you won't finish last, you won't get the wooden spoon. I just wonder if that would have been a theme of the address, the final address for Adamuze this year.
So Sexton kicks it inside 50. Boston will pick it up for Richmond. Hand pass to Bolter. And then he tried to kick it out to the right back pocket, but coming in was Ballard, who just ran in, chimed in, took the intercept mark. So
I'm not sure how many goals Ballard's kicked this year, but I'm tipping it's not many.
He's hit 2 for his career.
To his credit, he was up on the open side on his opponent, which is why he got it. But they just needed to come back out this side then. They're trying to force things instead of... But good on them. They're having a crack at everything, and it might work, it might not.
Charlie Ballard, 133 games for 2 goals. He lines this one up and he's put it through. It's Ballard's first goal for the season, his 3rd of his career, coming in round 24. And it's like he's a debuting player that scored his first goal. All of his teammates have come around to enjoy that one a little bit. So I think this is a couple of sides maybe enjoying the last quarter, and the Gold Coast Suns a little more now. They've headed out to a 27-point advantage, 12-8-80, playing Richmond 8-5-53 after 5 minutes in the 4th.
I think if they can just... This is Richmond I'm talking about. If they could just be happy to take easy options, find some marks, little easy handballs. That one was a tall back under pressure, rolling out to the open side, trying to thread a kick, and Gold Coast sealed the error off. Just take easy options. They're giving so much to the game, but they're coughing the ball up for no reason.
Well, with both arms with the flex and the tongue out, Charlie Ballard, who had a goal celebration. He's made his way back to defence, back in the middle of the ground. Anderson's hand pass chopped off, and the Tigers through Shea Bolton. Kicks a high ball into the 50, going back. Ulan takes the mark. Was able to take a great mark, just 45 metres out from his defensive goal at the punt road end. So the Suns by 27 points. Is that taking the sting out of the match as it kicks out to Sexton at right half back? The Suns' first goal since the 19-minute mark of the 3rd term, which was their only goal since half-time before the most recent. Anderson at half back, into the middle of the ground for Matt Rowell. Spinning the ball in his hands as he pushes back behind his mark. Challenge for Damien Hardwick to try and get out of a dominant midfield that wins a lot of centre clearances but needs to put it on the scoreboard. Bolter flying through the pack, can't take the mark. Long fires a hand pass out. Broad will get there first, shoves off Weller, who throws a good second fight to lay the tackle. Holman went over the top, no high contact, and the umpire will ball it up with Hugo Ralph-Smith on the bottom of the pack. At right half forward for the Suns, they lead by 27 points.
Suns did make it into the top 8 briefly this year after a good first half of the season, and things went south after that. So they won't play finals, but looking to end their season with a win as Broad kicks it out to Morris Rioli, takes the chest mark. Centre half back for the Tigers. He's waiting for his teammates to go ahead of him, and then he spots one right in the centre of the ground. It's Taranto, moves the ball on quickly, hand passing it to Daniel Rioli, who can kick inside 50 now, looking for Seth Campbell, but Closey did well to run in, read the ball well. and intercept the footy, and he kicks out wide to Humphrey. Humphrey will just hold on to the footy for the Suns. The floodlights on at the MCG, less natural light lighting up the field. And kicks down, will be turned over again. As Waston gets the footy and hand passes it across to Graham, who just dinks a kick to Seth Campbell. And he'll mark outer side of the MCG before he kicks down to Ross. Ross has got the footy. It doesn't come off his boot very well. Gets to Bolton. It should be the Gold Coast able to clear here. Well done by Rowell, who shrugs off the tackle. Hand passed it to Tuke-Miller in a lot of pressure. He hand passed it to Lemons, who had to kick quickly. He was under all sorts of pressure. Now Richmond bring the ball back inside 50. Witts has a go at it for Gold Coast to try and clear it. He'll go after it. A tackle might mean a free kick coming the way of Richmond. No, umpire says play on. The ball will spill out. And now he'll blow his whistle. And there will be a free kick going the way of Tuke-Miller of the Suns.
I'm glad you were calling that passage, Loz. It wasn't very pretty. As Rowell through the middle of the ground kicks to Flanders, and here's the run of Rogers. He gets a centre half forward, and Will Graham's all on his own. And we kicked a great goal in that third quarter. And this would just about see off the contest. You can hear the boos from the Richmond fans.
It's a bit of a broken record on repeat. They actually slowed the game down, found each other, took a couple of marks, and then bang, tried to force one into the corridor, and it's now back up the other end. Effort's not being rewarded with common sense.
The 19-year-old was picked 26 in 2023, one of the handful of Gold Coast Suns Academy players for his second from 45 metres out. Cool, calm and composed as he slams it through, and it's a 33-point lead with the opening 2 goals of the final term. 9 minutes in at the MCG. The Suns 13-8-86 to the Tigers 8-5-53. We've spoken a lot about what it would mean for Richmond if they were to win. For the Gold Coast Suns, it would be their most successful season. Within 2012, 2012 they had 10 wins and 12 losses. A chance for today with victory to move to 11 wins in their most successful season in their competition.
That's significant, Berkey. It's and win away from home. They've beaten Essendon, they've beaten North, and now Richmond.
Yep, and to win a game here at the MCG as well. We know that they've had a whole bunch of troubles here at the MCG. Playing away from home. So if they can leave here with a good taste in their mouth, having a good win, that'll help them next year.
Some cheers as Marlon Pickett parks himself in the goal square. Play restarts in the middle. McIntosh runs after it, can hand pass it away to Short, who goes long down the southern wing. Cut off by Hewland. He can chip it forward. Finds Rogers, who holds onto the mark, coming on as the sub, replacing Davies in the third quarter. Just chips it to Tuke-Miller. He's happy to hold on to the footy. He's been averaging 30 disposals in his last 4 games against Richmond. He's got 26 at the moment. He just chips it down to Anderson, who kicks long to the left forward pocket. He was looking for Ben King, but it was too close to the boundary for him to keep in, so it'll be punched over and we'll have a throw in. Still deep inside Gold Coast, attacking 50. They're leading by 33 points after 11 minutes in the final term.
Lauren Borden and Matt Clinch calling the action. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport. Witts one down the tap to Flanders. Head pass to Ben Long outside of the boot. He misses across the face. To the right-hand side from the left forward pocket. The Suns leading by 34 points. They've done all the attacking in this final term. 2 goals, 1 to Richmond yet to score.
He's toughened them up a bit forward to centre, Ben Long. That's what you spoke about before. What he's got, he gives you every week. He's very solid.
Boston with the kick out to Short, who just chipped it across to McIntosh, standing in defensive 50 still. Finds Taranto at centre half back, and he'll go for a little bit of a run before kicking right inside 50. There's plenty of Suns around it. Lemons has got it. He's taken to ground by Bolton. Richmond players pile on, and the umpire will just cross his arms for a ball up. Now 40 metres out from Richmond's goal.
Richmond's tall forwards need a summer of marking, craft and bodywork, Berkey. I'm serious. They need to learn to use their body, stay in a contest, keep it alive.
Maybe need a few of those forwards coming back in the side as well.
No, that'll help. But the young ones I'm talking about, Loz, that learn how to play as a forward, where to put your body, how to position yourself, how to stay in a contest for longer and ask more of the backs.
And they have had those chances this year with the injuries to at least have a chance in the forward line for the Tigers. As the ball comes out, Sexton just kicks it off the ground. Taranto will meet it, picks it up cleanly, then balks around Lukosius. He goes right, he'll go left. Lukosius falls over in the end. And then the kick comes inside 50. There'll be no mark coming from Bauer. It'll be punched away. Rogers runs onto it for Gold Coast, but he's tackled the moment he gets the footy. And play will stop 40 metres out from Richmond's goals for a ball up. The Suns ahead by 34 points after nearly 13 minutes gone in the final term of footy for both these sides this year.
News that David Teague departed the season before it was over. Blake Callicella to head back to the Tigers next year. As Taranto gets the hand pass away. Dan Rioli on the run from 48 metres out. Just clears the goal line and Sam Collins. And Richmond have their first goal in the final term. Dan Rioli with his second. He's always been a fan favourite. And the margin has pulled back to 28 points. The Gold Coast Suns 13,987 to the Tigers 9,559. And he, like Shea Bolton, one whose future is uncertain at season's end despite being contracted. Liam Baker and Jack Graham are out of contract. The retirements of Dustin Martin, Dylan Grimes, Sam Naismith and Marlon Pickett and the outgoing CEO Brendan Gale. So if it is the end for Dan Rioli in Richmond colours, he certainly send them off with a smile.
Yeah, he's so creative, and he's had a long career now. He's been doing it for a while, but that stuff I was talking about, that takes time, that development of young marking players, craft, and the three things that are always the hardest to teach are contest method, unwavering contest, your tools, and where to run on a footy ground. It just takes time.
Of course, if he does get to the Suns, he might be auditioning for his new coach.
Maybe.
In the middle, Toot Miller's tackled. No free kick. Rowell can pick it up. Hand passes it to Mac Andrew. There will be a free kick.
The umpire from a long way away saw a throw.
We saw a throw in the end. So the free kick has come to Taranto. Hand passes it to Short. He'll just kick long into attacking 50 for Richmond. Marlon Pickett. He gathers, collects, and he goes. The moment Richmond fans were waiting for. He's been in everything since coming on as the sub. And now Marlon Pickett, famous for playing his first game in a grand final, plays his last game at the MCG. He looks up to the sky, he celebrates the goal, and there's a moment now for him just to soak in being on the MCG for the final time. Gold Coast ahead by 22 points. It's the Suns 13,987, Richmond 10,565. 15 minutes gone in the fourth term on ABC Sport.
Well, good on the Tigers. That was just a long kick to a contest, and I think it was Bauer did an excellent job of bringing that ball down to a dangerous spot. Pickett gets front and centre and snaps truly. Sometimes it's not hard. Football.
No, they've kept Gold Coast in the game with their turnovers today. Their effort's been remarkable.
Could there be still a little bit still to be written as Prestia gets a clearance. Hand pass to Dan Rioli up towards Baker. Can't take the mark. Lemons comes charging out. He kicks end over end into the middle of the ground. That's chopped off by Kaczynski. Hand pass to Prestia. Drives Richmond inside 50. Bauer and Collins. Bauer leans back, gets a hand to it. Bolton tries to keep it alive. Hard against the boundary. Cuts inboard. Kick is smothered. Powell did well. Hand pass from Holman. It's smothered, the kick by Powell, and it spills underneath. And the umpire will ball it up in front of the Richmond faithful who are out of their chairs trying to lift their charges. The Suns by 22 points. 16 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport.
Rioli, Pickett, Bolton, that would have brought the house down, but unfortunately Bolton couldn't do his part in the triple play.
I think he's got one in him, Berkey. He's alive, but just being able to bring the ball to ground is... Last three inside 50s, they've just got it on the ground and kept it alive and asked more questions. It's been great to watch.
So from the stoppage, ball brought over the line for a throw-in, about 30 metres around from Richmond's goal. They've been competitive today, if not clean all the time. Although it's pulled out there and hand passed away from Powell. He gets it away. Prestia, though, he can pick up and collect. Short's there as well. He shoves it on the boot. It's a high ball inside 50. A pack will form at the bottom and there'll be a mark. Bauer will mark for Richmond. In all of that, the ball stayed in the air for an eternity and he sits at the bottom to take the mark.
He's been good, this young fella. He was the one that got it to ground for Shea Bolton almost to kick a goal. It's just stand there and put your hands up and have a crack and fight and not get pushed around and see where it takes you.
Jacob Bauer sets the line with his hand, kicking from 30 out, 45-degree angle. He's one of the forwards that's got an opportunity and he's sprayed it to the right-hand side. Just a minor score. So margin now 21 points in favour of the Suns, 17 minutes played.
Hit that great goal from the right forward pocket in the third quarter. Powell quickly brings the Suns back into play to Will Graham at left half back. Hand pass to Closey. Here comes McIntosh over the top. He gets it to Anderson. There was high contact. He doesn't want the advantage. So knowing the rules of the game, puts his hand up and signals to the umpire he doesn't want it. So back to Closey. Chips it over the top to Anderson. So just trying to take some of the sting, the emotion out of the game.
It's good free, Clinchy. Just gave them time to fill the corridor up and slow them down.
Noah Anderson, possession number 27 coming up as he drives it up towards half forward. Lukosius comes out to spoil it away. Spills out the way of Rao. Trying to break away from the Taranto tackle. Hand pass to Ben Long over the top to Graham. That's Will Graham. Hand pass to Lukosius. Hemmed in the left forward pocket. Kick smothered. Great work by Jaden Short. In fact, it was Broad. It spills out of a couple of players and eventually out of play. In front of Closey, Vlostone and McIntosh. A throw in the left forward pocket for the Gold Coast Suns. They lead by 21 points. 19 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
And the longest season in AFL history for both these sides in a few minutes' time as Witts just pulls it out from the throw. Hand passes it towards Lukosius. He couldn't gather it. Ralph Smith is there. A hand pass to Daniel Rioli, who hand passes it to Short. He's going left and right, doesn't know exactly where to go, and again he just bangs it on his boot like he's been doing all game, and he finds Ross in his safe hands as he takes the mark. His kick no good though, it's chopped off there by Sexton. He can kick to the top of the goal square looking for Ben Long. It was well done by Broad to get back there to stop the mark, but his hand pass no good. Andrew has a shot at it. He has to hurry away a hand pass, and then Short can get it. Hand pass it to Miller, who hand passes it to McIntosh, who goes by hands to Vloston, who taps the ball on the ground, and he's stuck before he decides to kick it long to Taranto, who marks. Centre half back for Richmond plays on quickly, hand passing it across to Short, who kicks it down to Kazitsky, and he'll just go with a long ball right to the top of the 50 for Richmond. In comes Powell, can't mark it but can bring it to ground. Richmond still with a chance here. Campbell hand passes to Ralph Smith, but a free kick's been found. It's going the way of the Gold Coast Suns, as you can hear.
That's not a free kick. Not a free kick. He dived into the Richmond player. He had nowhere to go. So unlucky there. Ralph Smith was running into an open goal.
Marlon Pickett high on Will Powell. And Marlon Pickett is playing like it's his last game. He's leaving nothing out there. The sub who came into the action for Sam Banks. Alex Davies out of the clash, which allowed the avenue for Jake Rogers to come in. The kick around the Shane Warne stand side. And the mark is paid in the end to Nick Vlostone, who sat underneath it despite the late challenge from Mac Andrew. Across left half back to Prestia. He gets it to Short, wants to try and get it out to Broad, back with one arm, couldn't complete the mark. Lukosius makes the body contact, they scrap for it. Racing back Ross with Holman. Holman slides in, ball in between Broad, and great effort by Humphrey, who knocks it on to Lukosius. They've got an option, Ben Long in the right forward pocket, chips it to him. He runs into the open goal on the outside of the boot and steers through his third. A steadier for the Gold Coast Suns after the Tigers have booted the previous 2 goals of the match, and it's back to a 27-point margin. 14-9-93 to the Tigers, 10-6-66. 21 minutes gone, final term on ABC Sport. In the end, the switch across half-back proved costly.
Well, put yourself in Adam Uze's position. You're coaching this club and you see chase down tackles and people throwing themselves at the contest. Diving smothers has always been a guide for me, that your team's work rate's there and they're hunting and they're pressure. And then they have a crack at opening the ground up, which is what they got to do, and make Gold Coast defend and try and pick their way through and drop a mark and pay for it badly. But their offense breakdowns have kept Gold Coast in the game today. Whenever they've had momentum and spirit, Richmond, they've lost possession of the ball.
Perfect bounce in the middle. Witts gets a tap away. If only goes as far as Graham for the Tigers, whose bounce doesn't come back to him. He can still collect and put the Tigers inside 50 with a long kick in. Mark can't be taken by Bauer, who went up with two hands. Yulin tries to get it. He can't pick up the footy. Then Rogers is in there and trying to have a chance to pick it up and take it cleanly. He's tackled in the end and will have a ball up 30 metres out from goal. So Witts makes his way to the contest, puts his arms up to nominate himself. Two hands. He punches it away. It'll be coming back from the Tigers, though, with Presti up. He can hand pass it away to Jack Graham, who hand passes it backwards to McIntosh, who tries to fend off Anderson and puts it on his left boot. It'll go close to the boundary line, and Newland makes sure that it'll go over for a throw-in. So stuck inside the forward 50 for Richmond, about 30 metres out from their goals. It's the Suns ahead by 27 points late in the fourth quarter.
Toss back into play. Witts works his way to the front. In a wrestle with Nankervis. Spills out. Flying shot on goal from Mansell. Misses everything out of bounds on the full. To the punt road end. The Suns by 27 points. Toot Miller with 29 disposals. Dion Prestia with 30. Tim Taranto with 29. 28 for Flanders. Anderson and Rao. 27 for Dan Rioli. So Sam Flanders with 28 surpasses Gary Ablett as the most disposals in a season for the Suns, breaking that record in 2012. Now there's a bit going on the Shane Warnstein wing. As Nankervis is in there, Will Graham's in there, Noel Bolter's in there, and a 50-metre penalty for the Suns. They've gone from the back pocket up to the wing, and Jared Witts takes the free kick, kicks it laterally out towards the boundary line, and the mark is taken by Bodie Yulin.
I think Noah Bolter just got a little bit overzealous with the push and shove and got big Nankervis high.
Ewan just chips it across to Anderson, who goes a lot longer with his kick to the half-forward line for Gold Coast. A pack will form around the footy. It's Will Graham who has a go at taking it out, but he's tackled and will have a ball up. About half-forward for the Gold Coast Suns.
Tigers have had their chances. Inside 50s, a 57-34 in their favour.
Witts can tap it out right to Real, who had one arm being held. The umpire will blow his whistle, and again, there's push and shove over here, outer side of the ground, southern wing. Players getting involved. Closey's in there. He's in tackle with Baker.
All you're doing is emptying your wallet in the last game of the year.
And play has continued on as well. The kick comes inside 50 for Gold Coast. And here's Marlon Pickett again, standing in defence this time to take the intercept mark for Richmond. He'll try and exit defensive 50, just get plenty of distance on the kick. Goes over the top of Ralph Smith. Out the back is Lemons for the Suns. He'll kick a high ball to the top of the 50. Bolter was at the front, took front position, then in came Pickett to take the footy, and he's tackled to the ground. And it'll be a free kick going the way of the Suns.
He's had 10 touches, Marlon. It sounds like he's had 100, hasn't he? Crowd involvement.
He's been all over the ground too.
He's been busy. Sparked them up, no doubt. Must be a really popular guy there.
Certainly loves seizing the moment, as he did on arrival in 2019. Thought about the hand pass, Will Graham to Bodie Yulin running past, but now might set flight with 2 goals for the match from 55. It's offline to the left and out of bounds on the full. So it feels like the licence has been given in the last game of the home and away season. But if you're within 60 and you want to have a crack, maybe you can. Maybe players are just taking that on themselves.
Nearly separates good teams from average teams now, Berkey. The last kick inside 50. The good ones are organised, the ones that aren't pay for it. It just bounces straight out.
Hopper works it around the outer wing to Shea Bolton, trying to give it back to a teammate who's tackled and brought down. Closey lays the tackle. The Suns take the advantage through Anderson. Looks up, Mac Andrews on his own. Top of the 50 out to the left. He takes the mark.
We might see Mac pretend to pass this one off a few times, but eventually have a shot.
Little further out than when he kicked the winner against the Bombers. He gives it away to Yulin. He has a crack. And scrapes it in for a minor score out to the left. A 27-point lead. The Gold Coast Suns at the 27-minute mark of the final term.
That's called a long point, everyone.
Yes.
The silliest kick in footy.
Yep.
And for the life of me, I can't understand why teams consistently do it.
In the end, Miller kicked to Baker. He kicked it to Prestia. He chips it to Morris Rioli, who kicks with a dangerous kick to half forward. It comes off. Shea Bolton takes the mark, plays on quickly too, putting the ball inside 50. Can't hit Ralph Smith on the chest. And it's Closey that marks for the Suns.
See, that was a terrible inside 50, but that's coming from a triple premiership player.
Yep.
It's not coming, it's Richmond coming from a young bloke, they're inexperienced. That was a bad kick inside 50. That was a terrible kick inside 50, but Shea Bolton, you've got to set a better example for the young blokes in the team than that.
The lack of system. Just wait. Don't force it. Wait for someone to get free.
Gold Coast have worked the ball around the wing to centre wing, where Humphrey sends a huge kick to the top of the 50. Mark can't be taken by Lukosius, who was there 1-on-3 Tigers. Boston pretends to keep it in, but it goes out and we'll have a throw in between wing and half forward for the Suns. Nearing the end of the clash and the season for both these two sides, it's Gold Coast ahead by 28 points after 28 minutes in the fourth quarter on ABC Sport.
Throwing back into play. Whitson Nankerv as it clears the two, spills out the way of Flanders, hand pass to Toot Miller, kicks inside 50, bounces towards Mac Andrew, tackled by McIntosh, and the footy stuck underneath him.
Be interesting what happens with Camden McIntosh. Rumour is the last couple of weeks they've played him on the wing, got him up around the footy to see whether he still had it. Started forward, went to the wing, now in the back line.
Thrown up in the air, Witts tries to drop it down, but it's Prestia who gets the hand pass out to Morris Rioli Jr. Nice little sidestep as he gets the hand pass away. Short at halfback, through the middle of the ground to Taranto. He takes the mark. Now he's got a couple loose for the Suns inside the attacking 50, so kicks laterally in the middle of the ground, where Prestia takes the mark. Possession number 33 coming up for him, so can he keep his body right in 2025? Hand pass to Vlosten, who gets the hand pass to Dan Rioli, looks out wide, sends it towards Baker, going back with a flight, surely Hewlin was taken high, and he'll get the free kick at left half back. Suns by 28 points, 29 minutes go on final turn.
Hewlin's kick towards Flanders, sees Broad come over the top of him to punch it out of bounds for a throw-in. So a final act from Broad, who's travelled a long way to get the punch in for that one. And now it'll be a throw in between wing and half forward for the Tigers. They've got still some celebrations to do after this, with a lap of honour for Dustin Martin, Dylan Grimes and Marlon Pickett, the retiring three players, as the ball's tossed back in. Again, there's still some push and shove too. Toot Miller and Baker in this one, but the free kick will find its way to Sean Lemons, and he'll just chip it out wide to Hewland. Standing with the footy at left half back for Gold Coast. They won't play finals this season. Slowly trying to edge up their wins as he goes with a long kick to a pack forming. Graham was there for the Tigers. It's Bolter rather. He can pick it up, hand pass it away to Graham, who hand passes it to Daniel Rioli. Just skies a kick up. No mark can be taken by Baker. He swirls in, gets the footy away. Can hand pass it to Shea Bolton, who's holding the footy as the siren sounds. But it'll be Gold Coast who take the win. Their 11th win of the season, making it their most successful season in the AFL so far. Well, for the Tigers, they'll sit on the bottom of the ladder and claim the wooden spoon. So 11 wins for Damien Hardwick in his first season coaching the Gold Coast. It was 3 points the margin in the Gold Coast advantage at quarter time, 32 points at half time, 21 points in the third quarter and 21 points in the fourth quarter. As Richmond still tried their hardest out there as they look to farewell three of their retiring champs, Dylan Grimes, Dustin Martin and Marlon Pickett. Tigers will finish on the bottom of the table in Adam Uze's first year as coach. So the Suns winning 14-10-94 against Richmond 10-6-66 in front of a crowd of 34,557. So just under their record. I think it's about 35 and a half that they had a few years ago at the MCG. The goal kickers for Gold Coast, a couple to Sam Flanders, Jack Lukosius and Will Graham. It was Ben Long with 3 who top scored for the Suns, and then individuals to Charlie Ballard, Noah Anderson, Jared Witts, Mac Andrew and Ben King. While for Richmond, it was a couple to Daniel Rioli and Jacob Bauer, and then singles to Dion Prestia, Morris Rioli, Shea Bolton, Ryan Mansell, and the biggest cheer was for the one in the final term to Marlon Pickett.
So the Suns finished the season with a win, a club record 11th victory in Damien Hardwick's first season at the helm as coach, while for the Tigers it's their first wooden spoon since 2007. And since the 18-team competition comes in, the first time they finished on the bottom. And Adam Uze's first season at the helm. There are more challenges to come in the weeks ahead with the string of retirements for the Tigers and the questions around those who may be still looking to depart. The thoughts of Nathan Burke and Brendan McCartney on the Gold Coast Suns' 28-point win at the MCG.
Well, it was workmanlike. It wasn't, they didn't play superb football. In the end, it was just they had more talent than the other team. Were far more efficient going inside 50 than what the other team were. So Richmond ended up winning the inside 50s. What was that? That was 60-49. So they had plenty of opportunities and chances. And as we Clinchy, do we want to call these guys coming onto the ground?
Burke, as Dustin Martin comes to the top of the race. The Richmond fans, that's what they're here for. Dylan Grimes was there as well, and Marlon Pickett has been down in the rooms, and he's found his family and brought them up to the MCG. So the Richmond faithful, I guess we were all a little unsure as to what presence the retiring players would have in the final match of the season. Dustin Martin, he's there, and he's going over to some of the Richmond fans to high-five him on the fence. I'm not sure whether anyone will give him the mic, but he might be there as... I wonder if he's going to be chaired off. It doesn't seem very Dustin Martin, does it?
Hope so. He's been... he's right up there with the best players I've ever seen, Berkey. I don't know where he sits on your ladder, but
to me, we always used to say back in our day that you can't flip a switch. You've got to give it all from start to finish.
But he could.
He was the only player that I think that could flip a switch. There was games where he's not interested, and all of a sudden he goes, yeah, well, I'll try now, and away he went. And certainly when he got to finals, the switch was flipped right from the start, and one of the best finals players that I've seen. So. Yeah, very, very rare breed of player that could, most of us just have to go out there and try our utmost every single game and hope that it comes off. He could just go, yeah, I'm going to cruise for a bit here, and then I'll put my foot down and put this game beyond doubt.
I think the hidden thing with him was that his teammates adored him and loved playing with him so much that they would wait game day for his message to come through, and they'd say, right, order's restored now, we're ready to go to battle, and Dusty's awake, he can't wait to play, so let's get there. And I'm probably thinking, if you're a player and Dustin Martin sends you a message, I'm ready to go to war with you boys, you're ready to play footy, aren't you?
Absolutely. We used to have Tony Lockett whenever he threw up before a game.
Yep.
And that might sound funny, but it's true. Whenever he threw up before the game, that's meant he was on. He was nervous, and he had that energy that he's going to go out there and play. So when we heard that happening, we thought, here we go, we're in for a big one.
He was pretty good too.
He was okay.
He was okay.
So Dustin Martin, Marlon Pickett, Dylan Grimes are doing a lap of honour around the MCG. There's banners that are hanging over the fence at the second tier of the city end that says 3 votes, D. Martin. There's other banners that say, thanks for the memories, Dustin. And they always have a funny way of doing this, the Tigers. They've presented their 3 premiership cups. So 2017, 2019, 2020 are on the stage in which Meatloaf, the normally musical act, performs on grand final day, where the Neil Danaher slide takes place on King's birthday. So the 3 premiership cups are on display. I wonder if we'll see something similar to what we saw when Trent Cotchin and Jack Revolt announced their retirement, as they're making their way towards the Punt Road end. It's taking a little while, as you'd imagine. So a lot of the Richmond players have headed down that way. Jack Revolt is there as well. So we might stand by to see if we can bring you the TV interview. And it's always a little weird when you're an opposition side, because the Gold Coast Suns have headed down to their fans at the city end and thanked them. There was probably turnover around 20 to 30 who are down at that end, and they'll stand there for about 10 minutes' time, having won the game, waiting to play their part in saying farewell to some of the Tigers legends as they do their lap of honour.
And Dylan Grimes is probably lost in this too, Clinchy. He's at their best. You'd look out behind the ball and he'd always be in the right spot. The opposition would look up, they'd see him and kick it somewhere else, and then the turnover was on, and then territory and surge, and it was through the goals. He was a fabulous player and handcrafted and hand-built and hard work.
Damien Hardwick's made his way down to the boundary. There's Dustin Martin in front of a number of the Richmond fans on the Shane Warne stand side. It's going to take a while, this lap of honour, because he is pretty reluctant, but he is soaking it in, arms outstretched, high-fiving any of the Richmond fans leaning over the fence who have all made their way down to the fence. It's about 6 or 7 deep. And all the yellow and black scarves and jumpers on display. And he's in the full tracksuit, and he is waving, pausing, and then going over to the fence and high-fiving everyone. He's the greatest Tiger we've ever seen, isn't he?
It's the best I've seen. So they've got a select few, haven't they? KB, Francis Burke, Jack Dyer. I haven't seen any better players. He's up with Hurdy and Michael Voss and Gazza, Joel Selwood, Juddy.
Do you think we'll ever see someone win 3 Norm Smith medals, Berkey?
It's very, very tough to do. Just getting to 1 grand final is hard enough, let alone getting to 3 grand finals and then being best player in those 3 grand finals. I reckon he might have that record by himself for... It wouldn't surprise me if he held it forever.
Andy McLeod and Ayresy won 2, I think, didn't they? Their teams. Yep. 3s. Mind blown.
And that's what I mean. Just that ability to turn it on when he needed to. He was a mixture of skill and just sort of brute force at times. Not very many players have both of those covered. Some of them sort of rely on a bit of brute force, and some of them rely on their sort of deft skill, but he had both covered.
He did. He was a bit of a slow burn. He just sort of gradually became an AFL player and came to grips with the lifestyle and the sacrifices you've got to make, and then as the team matured and he went with it, wow.
So I don't know where some of these signs have been throughout the match, but all of a sudden they've appeared, and Dustin Martin, realising that the fans are here for this moment, has made his way to the punt road end. He's tapping away at his heart as he waves and thanks them at the punt road end, where so many of the faithful have been there for his journey, the highs, the start of his career with the lofty expectations, and he is making his way to the punt road end, and in the goal square he's clapping and saying his thanks to the Richmond fans as he waves at them. And no one has moved for the Richmond fans who have come along, so 34,557 fans, and that is where the lap of honour will come to a close. So hugs between Dustin Martin, Marlon Pickett, Dylan Grimes and Jack Riewoldt. I think, Lee, we can bring you a bit of this as Jack Riewoldt is about to conduct the interview.
Great to be down here. Well, Does, I spoke to you after your 300th game, and people sensed that the end was near. The end is here now. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty emotional and just it's pretty surreal. It feels a little bit weird. I think after today it'll probably really sink in. As everyone knows, I love the club so much. I love you all so much. I'm going to miss the place so much. Just so grateful to be a Tiger.
You've had a massive impact on people's lives. There's 34,000 in our house, 93,000 turned up to your 300th game. Have you got a favourite moment, one that you'll look back on fondly?
Oh, there's been too many awesome moments over the journey, but, you know, you can't go past the OG flag 2017. That was pretty bloody special.
And finally, mate, is there anything you'd like to say to the Tiger faithful that have followed you over your career?
As I've said, I love you all so much. I've been so loved and supported. I love you all so much. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Grimesy picked 2 in the 2010 pre-season draft, coming from a long way back to retire now 200-plus games, a 3-time premiership player, a captain of the football club. How are you feeling?
Oh, it's a really bittersweet moment. On one hand, I'm really sad to say goodbye to all of this, to the best fans in the world. But
on the other hand, I've been blessed with so many great moments throughout my career, and I can't be anything but content with what's happened. So, yeah, I'm bittersweet but thrilled at the same time.
And it hasn't been quite public, but it has been a gruelling year for you. What does it mean to actually get back here to the ground to retire in front of the Richmond faithful?
Yeah, to be honest, it does mean a lot, and I appreciate the club for making such a big deal out of this for me personally and my family. It is a big moment for me to be back from surgery and be back out here on again, something I didn't think would happen. So, yeah, just thanks everyone for the support. It's been a great week. I really appreciate it.
And finally, mate, could you imagine in your wildest dreams that you would be retiring a 3-time premiership player?
No, I was pretty stoked just to get the one game. 234. I probably had about 6 good ones in there, so I'm rapt to have leaked it out for as long as I can. But yeah, look, I'll be a Tigers fan for life. I'm looking forward to celebrating with the boys this weekend.
Thanks, Still. All stories, great Richmond stories. Marlon Pickett, you retire on 91 games. Came into the game and injected a fair bit late. Your story is a fantastic one. It's an amazing story, mate. 2 premierships, retiring here at the MCG today.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Tiger Army, couldn't thank you enough. Love you guys. And to do a lap of honour with these 2 legends up here, Dusty and Grimes, honour of mine. I would never thought I would be doing a lap with you guys. Yeah, so many precious memories here. I'm a Richmond Tiger for life, and yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
And Marlon, yours is, as I mentioned, a unique story into the AFL. What advice would you give to anyone that doesn't get drafted the first time or goes through a unique pathway to hopefully end up where you've ended up?
Yeah, keep consistent, never give up on your dreams. You just never know. When you feel like quitting and you do the extra little bit, then the opportunities come true. Yeah, to beat my last game in front of you guys. We love you, appreciate you. Yeah, it's an honour.
And finally, you've moved across from Western Australia. You brought Jess and your 4 children across. What impacts the Richmond Football Club had on your family?
Yeah, I'm really honoured. It's a really family club. Made my family feel welcomed. Coming from the other side of Australia. Jess, the kids, love you. More time with you guys, so looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Marlon. Really appreciate it. There you go, Richmond faithful and people at home. Your 3 retiring greats, Dustin Martin, Dylan Grimes and Marlon Pickett.
Jack Revolt, courtesy of Fox Footy, and that whole interview taking place in front of the Punt Road stand, and all the Richmond Army are there, so they're going to pose for one last photo in front of the Richmond Army with Dustin Martin, Dylan Grimes and Marlon Pickett. So I guess everyone walks away at the end. The Richmond fans got to hear from their retiring trio, and awkwardly for the Gold Coast Suns, they stood there waiting to do a guard of honour, and they've decided, you know what, we've been standing here for about 15 minutes post-game and we've done our bit, maybe it's time to go. And if it wasn't Damien Hardwick as the coach of the Suns, I gather that decision probably would have been made a little earlier, but they are slowly making their way off the ground. I think Jared Witts has decided enough is enough, and we'll make our way from the ground.
And Damien Hardwick's down there hugging Richmond players, and looks like he might even be interviewed as well. So he's gone down in his Gold Coast Suns bright orange shirt, clearly standing out amongst it all.
All right, stand by, Lee. If he gets the mic in front of Damien Hardwick, we'll try and bring you this as well. We're on air for about another 12 minutes or so. Not sure whether they're going to air this one, though, through the big screen. That might be our problem. We've heard from the Richmond Ghosts, so they want to hear from Damien Hardwick. So just stand by, because I don't think this is going on the big screen. No, I think we're just getting the music coming through. So the Suns winners by 28 points, 14-10-94 to the Tigers 10-6-66. Just mindful we might run out of time at some stage, so Berkey and Macca will get you to think about some votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year, as the Suns, in their only game at the MCG in 2024, they've played 4 games across the last 4 years. So they don't get to the MCG very often, but they have now made a winning record against the Tigers. They've won their last 5, including opening round. As Dustin Martin is making his way down below us on the members' side. Marlon Pickett still there as well. So thank the Richmond fans on this side. And I think the Suns have made their way into the rooms. Let's join Tim Hodges.
It's a noisy, rowdy mob in here for the Gold Coast rooms. And here they are, the first MCG song for the year. There you go, a very, very happy bunch. The rooms are packed, so all family, all friends are here. I'll endeavour to grab you a player, and hopefully we can get that in our window before we palm off to the next game, guys.
All right, thank you, Hodgie. The Suns winners by 28 points, 14-10-94 to the Tigers 10-6-66, as Richmond are gathering for a guard of honour in front of their race. But a few of the players have stopped on their lap of honour, so it might take a little bit of work. I think Marlon Pickett is signing a few jumpers as Dustin Martin once more is still waving to the fans, and Brendan Gale has gathered down there as well. So now Damien Hardwick and Dustin Martin embraced in a hug. Photographers come around, and one last time Dustin Martin turns and waves to all sections of the MCG. Marlon Pickett runs over to join him. Dylan Grimes is there as well. We'll see whether they do get chaired off. Dion Prestia comes over to Dusty Martin. Damien Hardwick is the only son who's still there. So the guard of honour on either side in front of the Ponsford stand here. Dustin Martin, Marlon Pickett, Dylan Grimes stand at the top of it, and I think they're just going to walk their way off. They embrace between Martin in the middle, Grimes on the left, Marlon Pickett on the right. And the trio of Richmond Premiership players make their way from the MCG. Their golden era premierships in 2017, 2019, 2020. As the era comes to a close, and Adam Uze stands there with a challenge in front of him to try and rebuild the empire. As Richmond make their way from the MCG, let's head back down to Tim Hodges in the Gold Coast Suns rooms.
Clinchy, Jared Witts, this co-captain, has been good enough to join us on ABC Sport. Jared, we thank you for your time. Not the year you wanted, but gee, that's a really nice way to finish with victory on the MCG.
Yeah, exactly right. Another away win for us. So got a bit of momentum in that sense. But yeah, tough game, and it's nice to win at the G for sure.
What did you make of the game? It was difficult. They threw everything they actually possibly have, and they had plenty to play for, and they really made it a tough contest for you.
Yeah, it was. They were obviously on in the contest early. We were able to get that back in the second quarter, I thought, and then yeah, it was a bit of back and forth, bit of uncomposed play going on there, a few bad skill errors and things like that. So it was a bit slobby at times, but I think it's important to win, and we did that. So.
Even the stage for your young team to play at the MCG, it wasn't an enormous crowd, but it was a noisy crowd that the Tiger faithful really came and wanted to win. They made it a great environment, and probably good for your team to get a win like that.
Oh, for sure. When they kicked those couple of goals after half-time, the crowd definitely got into it. Yeah, it was nice and close. Another good challenge for us to deal with pressure like that and an away crowd, and I thought we did that. We were able to stay strong. I thought a couple of the backs stood up really well in that last quarter. Had really important moments, but yeah, which allowed us to be pretty solid.
We've got Witsy, the skipper. He's got the cans on. I'll send you upstairs. Brendan McCartney and Nathan Burke.
Witsy, well done, mate. Good on you, Macca.
Thanks, mate.
Hey, how was your day with Toby Nankervis?
There's a bit in it. There's a bit of back and forth. Obviously, he's a physical player. Plays the game the right way, and yeah, we had a few moments.
Just talk us through Dimmer, if you would, for a moment. What if I asked you for three things that he's bought, what would they be?
We obviously bought a really solid system and a really strong identity to our footy club. So in that sense, on the field, and then obviously being a Suns man off the field. So there's some strong things, there's some identity that we're working on, and I think you can start to see that with the way that we play. Obviously, we want to be really strong in the contest, and then obviously both sides of the ball be really solid as well. So yeah, that system is probably the main thing that he's brought to our footy club.
Good, thank you, mate. Thanks.
Jared, Nathan Burke here, mate. Congratulations. So I think it's the most games that the Suns have ever won in a season, which is great, which is a leap forward. But where's the next leap going to come from? What's the key thing?
I think obviously we want to be in that position pushing for finals. I think that there's no doubt about that. We let ourselves down at times this year. We had some good wins, but we also had some games where we should have been better and been more consistent. So I think obviously we're going to be striving for more consistency. We think we'll be able to get that organically within the footy club as guys grow and as guys get more games. I think there'll be only a handful of guys who have played more than like 2 or 3 games at the G. So just little moments like that, we're building some experience. I think it will grow organically from inside the footy club.
And what's in store for you now, mate? Feet up, shooting away overseas, hanging around. What's the story?
I was just focusing on this weekend, mate. No. We'll see. We'll get back up to the coast, enjoy a bit of time with the team over the next few days, and see where it settles.
And the history
Boys,
of
this will have to be the last one. The bus leaves in 4 minutes, I've been told.
Can't miss the bus, mate.
Don't leave the captain behind.
Yeah, I know. We would have loved to have stayed out there, obviously, and cheered those guys off, but unfortunately, with the game getting pushed back, we weren't able to stay out on the field for long enough. But just thought I'd like to get that across. It's obviously a really special day for Richmond, seeing off some of their important veterans who have had a real impact on their footy club, and it was nice to see them do their lap of honour and be celebrated in the right way.
We'll let you go, Jared. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the off-season and congratulations on the win in the final game.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Well done.
Jared Wetz, the Gold Coast Suns captain, alongside Toot Miller, joining you on ABC Sport. Yes, unfortunately, the challenges of the last 24 hours has meant everyone has had to adjust on the fly, and the Suns have got to get a flight back up north, so no chance to stay on the ground, as the Richmond fans are getting a chance for some kick-to-kick on the MCG, with the middle of the ground just fenced off from the punt road to the city end. So there's probably a few thousand out there on either side, the members wing and the Shane Warne stand wing. The votes, Nathan Burke for the ABC Footballer of the Year.
Yeah, it was a tough one today. There was a lot of players that got a lot of possession, so I've looked for some extra little stats. I've given one to Daniel Rioli, 30 touches and 2 goals with 6 score involvements. I thought that's a good effort off the half-back line. I've got another Richmond player. I thought Taranto had 30, but he had 14 tackles. And that's extraordinary in today's football. No one else in the Tigers team had more than 5, so I've given him 2, and I've given Flanders 3 for 29 possessions, 2 goals, 2, could have kicked a couple more, but when the game needed to be won early, he was the guy doing most of the heavy lifting. So Flanders 3, Taranto 2, and Rioli 1.
Nathan Burke with the ABC Footballer of the Year votes there. So an emotional Dustin Martin at his made his farewell. We don't hear a lot from him, so to see that emotion, I love you all, grateful to be a Tiger, thank you for everything, and a little tear, I think, as he made his way from the MCG. So one of the all-time greats of our generation, Macca, and they'll probably go off into the sunset and we won't hear too much from him.
Probably not. There's a mystique about him, but who he is what he was then. Just respectful, quiet, a lot of humility, but just had that level of arrogance and self-belief when he played, when it really mattered. But Berkey's votes are interesting. That for me, I thought Richmond outplayed them today. They just lacked polish and finesse, and they were brilliant and played for their supporters, played for their retiring champions. There's no doubt about that. It showed, I think, Adam Uze's got good connection with this group, that he's a teaching coach, that they're learning from him, and some of their players may be looking to do other things, but based on what I saw today, the essence of a really good, solid foundation is there.
What's the most important question for Adam Uze in the next 2 weeks, Berkey?
Who's on his list?
How many of his premiership players are still there?
Yeah, who's still there? And what repercussions does that have? If they stay, does that push out your Camden McIntoshes and that type of player? If they go, does that give him a reprieve? So I think there's a lot that's going to unfold in the Richmond Football Club in the next 2 weeks.
And Macca spoke about it pre-game, the Damien Hardwick expectation that he would come to the Suns and lead them into finals for the first time, and hasn't eventuated this season. The expectation's going to be high, isn't it, in 2025 to try and make the inroads?
Absolutely. The thing about this football league is that improvement isn't linear. So because they had their best season ever this year, that absolutely means jack all for what happens next year. You know, as we've seen, Collingwood won the grand final last year, not playing finals. Geelong the year before win the grand final, don't play finals. So if they're thinking, that this improvement's going to keep going, we'll play finals next year, they've got another thing coming because they can easily, just as easily, it's probably easier to go backwards than it is to go forwards.
Most important thing for Damien Hardwick, Macca?
Consistency. Wixie's answer, I loved it. He said he's bought a way of playing and a way of behaving. So you build Gold Coast person, Gold Coast man, I think he said. So that doesn't surprise me, but it's being able to deliver it all the time. And it's subtle. It's it's how hard your mids work. It's how selfless you are, how committed you are to the team under pressure. So that's going to be the challenge for them.
Suns winners by 28 points at the MCG. Thank you, Macca.
Thanks.
Thank you, Berkey.
Thanks,
Thanks to Lauren. Thanks to Tim Hodges. Thanks to Lee and Akash back at the studio. Depending on where you're listening, Brisbane and Essendon and Sydney and Adelaide tonight. But Mitch Turner will pick up proceedings in the studio. The Suns winners by 28 points. Hawthorn by 124 points over North Melbourne. And the Cats 93-point winners over the West Coast Eagles. If it was a grand farewell for Dustin Martin in front of 90,000 at the MCG, it was a fitting farewell. He didn't play, but he said goodbye alongside a trio of his Richmond stars. The Suns by 28 points. Good night.